This is for the kingdom, yeah. I'm gonna build it up one brick at a time. Ain't got no time to rewind. I'm putting in work, double up on my grind. This is for the kingdom, yeah. I'm gonna build it up one brick at a time. Ain't got no time to rewind. I'm putting in work, double up on my grind. Why do you aim small when you can get it supersized? Why you say you're living but you're looking through that eye? Yeah, you say you love yourself, but yet you wear a disguise. You can stomach love, therefore you choose hate. Be careful, all it takes is a whisper of a snake. Be sober, just for the taste, you can lose it all. And even if it takes a crawl, pace yourself and then you stand tall. This is for the kingdom, yeah. I'm gonna build it up one brick at a time. Ain't got no time to rewind. I'm putting in work, double up on my grind. This is for the kingdom, yeah. I'm gonna build it up one brick at a time. Ain't got no time to rewind. I'm putting in work, double up on my grind.
Brick by brick, this is for elevation. You over here, over there, everywhere, this is the delegation. Answers for your questions, is this an interrogation? Man, stop, grab a hammer and tend to your obligations. That's real, tell me.
Double up, double up.
Build it from the ground, now that's what you call a come up. 24 hours, sun up until the sun up. A god will have to die and be willing to raise his son up into another realm, like we walking through portals. Throw off this old flesh and a man can become immortal. I eat this living bread while that piecing together morsels. Y'all blessed front to back in my torso.
This is for the kingdom, yeah. I'm gonna build it up one brick at a time. Ain't got no time to rewind. I'm putting in work, double up on my grind. This is for the kingdom, yeah. I'm gonna build it up one brick at a time. Ain't got no time to rewind. I'm putting in work, double up on my grind. So much crabs in the bucket, they never wanna see us prosper. So I creep up in the hoods, and the Ruach's got me singing black opera. Words so good, cause it changed the atmosphere. They think we doing magic. Yeah. You gotta get in, cause your awakening is the hardest topic. Yeah. And we got the hook up on the living water, and ain't no need to cop it. No, but it starts with the family. We are the recipe of this economy. This is for the kingdom, yeah. I'm gonna build it up one brick at a time. Ain't got no time to rewind. I'm putting in work, double up on my grind. This is for the kingdom, yeah. I'm gonna build it up one brick at a time. Ain't got no time to rewind. I'm putting in work, double up on my grind. Chosen people, chosen people. We gotta do better, do better. We gotta do better. We gotta do better. We gotta do
We ain't playing games no more. We taking back what is rightfully ours. Hebrews to Negroes, wake up Black America. Judah,
don't throw in the towel. Anything can happen. I know that the storm is raging now. Tomorrow will be calm, but it's gonna take a revolution. A revolution. It's gonna take a revolution.
serpents, the strategies to learn the beast. Homeless as doves, there's a time when to keep the peace. God's battle axe, even y'all keep the peace. 40 acres of mule, that reparations piece. What if we all embody being one body? Tulsa, Black Wall Street is filled with bodies. I am Malcolm X, we all Marcus Garvey. Hello, Haile Selassie, the whole lottie-dottie. I am a highest night, we in Yahuwah's army. Yahweh, it's Yah's way, whichever route we going. For a future, history just might be tarnished. After darkness, there just might be some parents mourning. Think upon it, we the pawns that they feast upon. If we the kings and queens, then swords gotta be drawn. Wake up, Hebrews, the unity is needed more. Fist up, revolution.
Don't go in the tower, anything can happen. I know that the storm is raging now, tomorrow will be calm. But it's gonna take a revolution, a revolution. It's gonna take a revolution, a revolution.
Spiritual revolution, yeah. No more propaganda, be silent no more. We ain't scared of your Miranda. Call us by our name, it don't seem like you can handle it. Your system we dismantling, we done searched over the land and turned out y'all all scandalous. Overthrow it all in the spirit, to be corner like an overthrown ball with no receiver. It's a revolution, started in our mind and it's really televised. Now the world can see the truth, out the box they telling lies. No flag, warning shots, no blood, false flag, stars, banners waving, we like bye bye Babylon. With our wooden planks we gon' carry on. If the ball in our hands long, we gon' carry it home. My brother's modern day Christmas addict, going home party, ain't talking repub, democratic. He done heard the people cry who also diplomatic. Yeah, anything can happen now, it's the fight of your life and we ain't talking
Don't
no
go
backing
in
down.
the tower, anything can happen. I know that the storm is raging now, tomorrow will be calm. But it's gonna take a revolution, a revolution. It's gonna take a revolution, a revolution. All we ever wanted was restitution. Yeah. But then they devised ways to lock us up in prison. Yeah. Master taught us how to be a good Christian. Hey. But we're the black disciples of the revolution. So wake up, we are stronger with more than one. Second Exodus, our freedom has just begun. The kingdom is here, you better take it. Came a long way from them slave ships. We don't care about them blue honeys, we treasure hunting. Don't throw in the towel, don't throw in the towel. Anything can happen, anything can happen. I know that the storm is raging now, tomorrow will be calm. We'll be calm. It's gonna take a revolution, a revolution, a revolution. We need a revolution. It's gonna take a revolution, a revolution.
People don't cover this in Christianity, but the Bible actually foretells of the recolonization and invasion of the land of the Bantu people by Gog and Magog's army. Through covert and strategic methods, the biblical enemies of the Bantu Israelite people are setting up a Trojan horse scenario right now in sub-Saharan Africa. The Bible warns the Bantu Israelites in the book of Ezekiel to prepare for this coming invasion, to be on guard, and for us to assemble together. But millions of people, including Israelites, will be distracted by the cares of this world to see what impending doom is coming to the world. From beyond the Caucasus Mountains, Eastern Europe, the Black Sea, the Caspian Sea, and Central Asia, the descendants of Meshech, Gomer, Togarmah, and Magog are aligning themselves secretly with the descendants of the real Persians, Cushites, and the real Libyan Puttites. This is not something for the Bantu people in sub-Saharan Africa to take lightly, for they are the true Israelites dwelling in the real land of Canaan. The dry bones prophecy of Israel is also happening right now as the African diaspora are returning to sub-Saharan Africa, the true land of Canaan, and not modern-day Israel, the land of the Neanderthal Horites and Esau. Hebrews to Negroes 3, Sound the Alarm, the movie. Coming winter 2023 to Hebrews to Negroes TV.com and H2NTV.com.
Hey, shalom, everyone. Shalom, shalom, Israelites. Shalom, everyone around the world listening. Shalom, shalom. Of course, my name is Lorvins here, Son of Shemites. This is another episode of the Off Limits podcast where nothing is off limits. So we want to welcome everyone to have another conversation. This is an exclusive conversation, of course, today. Covering my brother Ron Dalton, of course, who's doing some amazing work in Africa and really out throughout the world. He's went ahead and set fire to the United States, as you can see, planted a whole bunch of seed back in the days, and then you see what happened. And now he's in South Africa. Of course, he's setting a blaze over there too. So the Most High is doing some amazing things, using people he deemed worthy as a vessel to be used for his glory. That in the end, that's going to magnify him. But hey, that's a little bit of introduction. So we got my sister, my brother. What's going on?
Hey, shalom, shalom, family. As usual, it's always great to be here with everyone. Having a great time, having a great conversation, learning different perspectives, learning about our history, learning things we haven't been taught, learn things that have escaped our eyesight. It's always a great opportunity to be in the presence of hearing Ron Dalton speak here. And so, I'm grateful to be a part and just among the brethren here so I can continue to learn and gain understanding, especially about, the aftermath of Kyrie Irving, and things that's been happening. I'm anxious to hear what our brother has to say. And, I'm grateful to be among y'all to hear it as well. So this one of those sit back, get your popcorn, and listen to hear what has to be said, family. Q.
Right. It's your girl. Yeah. I was tired, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you.
What?
I am towed up, but I bet y'all like, oh, they coming back another week. Like we be taking mad breaks, but it is a pleasure to be here. My granny used to say amongst the living, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Mm-hmm.
All praises to the Father. I'm excited, you know what I'm saying? I kind of been, I just got around these brothers. So for me, I was under a rock for a whole lot of years. I didn't know who these brothers was, let alone any, the likes of Ron Dalton and stuff like that. So this is beautiful for me, y'all. And I get to, actually communicate with these brothers. and learn some stuff. Like he said, he been sowing seeds for quite some time now. And I mean that's a real testament of faith. Like I seen the movie came out 2018. If it came out in 2018, I mean you were working on it well before that. So just to see the work and the outcome and stuff, like he's really shook up the world. Some of us thought, how was this gonna happen? How was the Most High going to do this thing? And it's like bam, like it's like it was a light thing to do. Hey, if he touched the heart of Pharaoh to switch up real quick and let people go they done kept for 400 some years, like he's like, oh, this is easy. Boop. You know what I'm saying? So this is beautiful. I'm gonna sit back, relax. We back. Tell them we back. Shaddy.
Hey, yeah. We definitely back. I just came off a little vacation. My wife decided to go to Dallas, Texas, where your pie is actually. So we hooked up with sis as well. So the reason why she tired, because we were doing some stuff, man, having a good time, going all over Dallas. I needed that little break, travel so much. But then again, it don't really feel like a vacation. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I'm tired already, doing all kind of stuff. But the work must continue. You know what I'm saying? The work must continue. It's crazy that I was listening to you, Pa. When you're growing up as a child, your parents be like, oh, you're gonna do some things that'll impact the world. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because I really think us Hebrews, as we wake up into this knowledge, we don't realize the magnitude of what happened with the Kyrie Irving situation. You know what I'm saying? How your parents say you're gonna affect the world. That literally affect the world. So Ron can literally say, like, I did a movie and it affected the world. Not only did it affect the world, it's continued to affect the world because they're so afraid of it. And it's so potent, the information is so potent that they're throwing the kitchen sink at my brother. You see what I'm saying? Throwing the kitchen sink at him because you see a lot of people doing this work. You know what I'm saying? And all praise to the Most High that he's using them. But a lot of us don't really have that kitchen sink coming at us like that. We have a little persecution here and there. But when they throw in the kitchen sink at you, and you just ducking, and it's like, man, you already know the Most High, yeah, although he blessed you, it's really that time to be persecuted for the work. And it lets you know how close you are to the Most High in terms of the information. Because he said, man, they don't hate you, they hate me. So that means you have to be so close to the Most High, literally touching him, that they'll hate you so much. You see what I'm saying? And so the scriptures say our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And I know Ron pride himself on knowledge, not just the knowledge, but the spirit behind everything that's moving him towards that knowledge. Because you don't just find this knowledge and be like, okay, oh yeah, I just stumbled upon this. You know what I'm saying? You have to do some real diligence, some real searching in order to find this stuff. But yeah, man, I won't hop on that too long, but I want to go ahead and bring the brother in. You may hear his voice because I know you got some things going on in the background with the family as far as the children trying to sleep because he's in South Africa right now. All right, so pardon him if he's not showing his face, but you may see hear his vocals. Try not to wake the babies up. But yeah, Ron, man, welcome to the platform again. You already know this is like your home. We've been riding together for a long time, so you always welcome here. So introduce yourself to the people again. Not that you need any introduction.
Yeah. My name is Ronald Dalton. I'm just a humble student of Lorvins, Lormias.
All right. Well, let's say it's mutual.
Hey, welcome to the fun party. We appreciate that, Ron.
Right
on in.
I know why you
come in with the jokes.
I know why you said it too. He dope.
Fit right on in.
No, I mean, people listening, they should already know who I am. Creator of the Hebrews to Negroes books and movies that Kyrie Irving got under fire for and lost his Nike deal. And then shortly after that, I got banned from YouTube. Already been banned from Facebook, banned from Clubhouse, banned from GoFundMe.
shut down from Airbnb. I mean, it's a lot of things that's going on lately, but I mean, Lorvins knows about a lot of the things that the Jews have been throwing at me in South Africa. They seem like they follow me wherever I go, uh, and yeah, it's just real. It's real. The Jews are watching, and all I can say is I just keep fighting the Jews. It seems like I got a sword, and I'm just swinging, trying to keep these Jews off of me, so I can push this truth to South Africa. But it ain't easy. But I mean, at the end of the day, somebody has to do it, and we'll talk about how, um, mysteriously, the same time I'm in South Africa, Dr. Umar Johnson is in South Africa speaking in churches and stuff, and then IUIC is in South Africa, Bishop Nathaniel and I think Elder Malachi, and they're doing interviews and whatnot, and it's just like a lot of crazy things been happening uh, surrounding the movie premiere in Soweto and all the things I'm trying to do in South Africa. And yeah, so and then of course, Lorvins, we'll talk about what's going on in November and the excitement that people should have for that. If they're in America and they have the ability to travel to another state, they can take part in another Hebrews and Eagles conference. That it seems like a lot of Israelites in America don't do conferences for the mass, for the general public, which I don't understand. I mean, it's really it really baffles me that we have all these Israelite assemblies and congregations and camps, and we don't do any conferences or things for the public that can come out and just be amongst Israelites that have the sole belief that we are the true children of Israel. And regardless of some of our doctrinal differences, we should be able to come together, just like the Christian church comes together for their holy convocations and their conventions that they have yearly. Depending on if you're with the Kojic or Church for Lord Jesus Christ or AME, people, these churches, they have convocations and conventions, usually once a year, where the whole organization meets in a particular city and state in America, and everybody just has a good time. They stay in the hotels, they go to service, they have concerts, they have stuff for the kids in the morning. They do a lot of things, but in the Israelite community, it seems like we just don't do these things. We just stay in our own little state and city and do a little YouTube videos and that's it.
Yeah. Well, the idea is, the Most High always gives people their marching order as far as what they're to do and what they're limited to do, or whatever capacity and the fate that they're going to operate in. I mean, we know your mustard seed done, done sprouted so much to the point where it's gone beyond internationally, and it's forming like bigger than a mountain. You see what I'm saying? So it's moving all kind of mountains where you're able to talk with leaders, kings and things of that nature, where the Most High is moving you in such a way because of the faith that you have. You mentioned the event that's about to go down that you and I have partnered up to do, which is the Tribulation Conference. Man, I believe this is going to be one of the most biggest and powerful event that this nation has ever seen. Not when I say nation, I'm talking about America, period. Um, to show that the Israelites can come together in a way to together, which is what you were stating about the Great Tribulation Conference, November 17th to 18th, 2023. So go ahead and talk about this event that we're about to do in terms of what your objective is, and then I can kind of talk about some of the other things with it as well.
Yeah, so I did the End This Year conference a couple years ago and touched on some different things, but I mean, we're kind of moved a step forward now in terms of stuff that's going on in the world with post pandemic uh, passports, World Health Organization, pandemic passports for you got access. Are you approved to get on a plane? You're approved to leave the house. You're approved to, go within a certain radius to go to the grocery store. Digital money, central bank digital currencies, biometrics, artificial intelligence, chat GPT, unrest, civil unrest in different countries that sometimes it's not covered by the media, increased rise of homelessness and unemployment, increase difficulty for people to sustain a living because of the price of things are going up, aka inflation, and your wage and your job is not changing. Um, things going on outside the United States with the BRICS alliance with Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and all the other countries that are seemingly joining up for the BRICS and putting in their applications and getting approved. Therefore, showing the West that the East is gaining popularity in terms of what they're trying to do and gain independence from the dollar hegemony. And when you look at these images, you see off grid living. You see the the missile firing off. You see AI. You see people, all huddled together where they're crossing the border or trying to leave their country to go to another country. You see the Pope, which represents the Catholic Church and Christianity. You see civil unrest with things on fire, people with their shopping baskets, looting stores. You see the Congo flag. That's a whole nother topic of discussion. The AI robot, police state riots going off in Europe and different countries. Of course, the COVID-19 vaccine, the people got didn't do their research. Homelessness, so we're going to be talking about a lot of different things at the conference, and people need to pay attention. They need to get there. In addition to, stuff that, maybe their Israelite leader is not talking about, in regards to, where is the true land of Canaan? Where is the land of Israel? Where is the land of milk and honey? Where is the land that we wouldn't have to want anything because the land has everything in it? Where's Jerusalem at? Where is the mountains that surround Jerusalem? Where's the center of the earth, the navel of the earth? Is it in Jerusalem, in Africa, or is it Jerusalem in the middle, in Northeast Africa and Levant? There's a lot of questions people are having because it really ties into what they've been teaching. So if you've been teaching that we need to get back to Israel, then if you get some teachings that, hey, is the modern day Israel really the land of Canaan, or have the Gentiles tricked us? They tricked us. Have they tricked us with their translations and authorizations of the Bible that we read, not knowing what they manipulated, inserted, took out, changed, lexicon changed, all these different things changed. We don't know these things. So at the end of the day, we're looking for a lot of questions to be answered. And it seems that a lot of people have different things. Should we stay in America? What if we can't leave? Is UFOs coming to take us out of America to Africa, or the UFOs going to take us uh, to Israel, meaning the chariots? Is there going to be a Israelite rapture where we're going to be caught up in the air before the tribulation happens to be with the Most High, or be with Christ, or whether you believe in Christ or not? So there's a lot of things going on in the Israelite community, and people are looking uh, to try and figure things out in terms of what do we do when we start to approach what seems to be the end times. What do we do? What do we do? I mean, we
Yeah.
see people in China paying for stuff with their hand, paying for stuff by showing their face. Lorvins, you sent me a video of somebody, some business. You got to look up at the camera to gain entry into the building. So we're seeing a technology where people can make it to where you can pay for things using your hand or using your face,
Mhm.
to pay for things. Not your credit card, not your debit card, not cash,
Yeah.
but your hand and your face. So what does this mean? Is this the mark of the beast? So there's a lot of questions. People are looking for their pastors or Israelite mores or leaders or bishops or elders or captains or generals to tell them, but they're not getting all the answers. They're not
Yeah,
getting the right answers. So we're going to kind of address these things at the conference, and then also at the bottom you can see the movie Hebrews 10 Eagles 3 Sound the Alarm. We're going to show it there,
yeah,
nowhere else but there. I mean, at least for right now. So if you've been waiting for it, then you need to get there. Otherwise, if you don't get there, then you're gonna have to wait till 2024 to whenever I announced the streaming date, where the movie will be able to be watched online. So
yeah.
that's
I
what
think that
we're
movie is going to be crazy. I mean, it's going to be unprecedented information that a lot of people has never seen before or even heard. And I think people are going to think you crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because, and you know what? And I think one of the viewers said some MacMan 007. He said everything must be investigated. These heathen been lying unchecked for centuries. Like everything must be investigated because the scriptures say that he has deceived the whole world. So that means nothing is off limits in terms of what you study to get to the right information, to get to the truth. Everything, I mean, we are literally living a lie. I mean, I did a song called The Matrix. No one can deny we was living in a matrix and thought we had it good. We was literally operating like zombies because someone told us this is how to act. Someone told us this is how to behave. Someone said this was the best career for you. Someone said this is the right medicine to take. Someone said this was the food to eat. Someone said these are the days you should worship the Most High. This is your God. This is your Savior. I mean, everything was given to us. There was nothing researched by us, not only to the point they even had their own puppets and robots telling us, this well-toned engine of lies that was going on. So speak to that, because it sounds like that's where you're at, where you're investigating everything, because you're saying in the King James Bible, some things have been changed, misinterpretation, the lexicon. So what is leading you in this path of just seeking truth in all its ways?
well, when I when I was reading the Greek Septuagint, and I seen the word Red Sea, and I said, okay, well, that's in Greek. It says Red Sea. I said, what does it say in Hebrew? And when I looked at the Hebrew word for uh, so-called Red Sea, I said, this is not the Red Sea. This is the Nile River. And I said, but why does the Bible say the Red Sea?
Hmm.
And then when I read Genesis 2, and I said, what is the word Euphrates doing in here? I said, Gihon and Pishon is one of the rivers of the Garden of Eden. And I said, but Euphrates is a Greek word. It's not an English word. It's not a Hebrew word. It's a Greek word. And I said, what about Tigris? Where does that come from?
Mm-hmm.
Because some Bibles may say Tigris, some Bibles may say Hikadel. And you have to start to study the etymology of these words and where they come from.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to wonder. I said, "Man, this is strange." I said, "So you got a Hebrew word, uh, a Persian word, and a Greek word. So if you read your Bible and it says Gihon and Pishon, and it says Tigris, and it says Euphrates, then you're looking at two Hebrew words, a Greek word, and a Persian word." And I said, "But the Bible, these guys, the Hebrews, didn't speak Persian or Greek or English." So then I started to wonder. I said, well, wait a minute. I said, so we got scriptures in the Bible that mention lion, leopard, and a wolf all in the same scripture verse. And I said, well, how is it that a lion, a leopard, and a wolf are being mentioned by the Israelites in the same verse? I said, is lions and leopards in Israel right now? No. And I said, well, is the word wolf, is it really a wolf, or is it a wild dog? Is it a hyena? Is it a jackal? What is it? Because in our English Bibles, it says wolf. And so I like to investigate these things because normal black people in the Christian church, we're not going to look at these things and ask any questions. We're just going to read it and shake our head and say amen, and we're not going to we're not going to ask any questions. And these things bother me. Like when we used to read our Bible, and I used to read the word unicorn. I said, what? I said unicorn. What's the unicorn doing in the Bible? But it's in the Bible. And I'm like, wait a minute, this makes no sense. There is no one horn horse that's in the Bible. So I said, something's wrong here. We have to investigate this. So that's why I like to uh ask questions, and I used to ask questions in the church all the time. My dad and the pastor used to hate it. I used to raise my hand and ask questions, and they would be like, Ron, now's not the time. We have to end because we have to start service. And I used to be like, well, why is a unicorn in our Bible? What's going on here? Can you explain something? I need answers. And the pastors and the deacons never wanted to answer the question. Never want to answer the question.
But you know why, Ron? You know why? The thing about it too is when you look at it, because we was always taught to not really question things because we're such a spiritual people, and we always look at things spiritually. The Bible say the simple shall confound the wise. It's the simple things. It's the very simple things. Like, for instance, when you see something like unicorn in the Bible, and they say, well, where the unicorns at? They think it's a very basic childish question, but when you think about it, it's a very simple question that can answer a lot of different things. And it's going to confound people because those who trying to be wise and those who trying to think they know all the spiritual things, when you ask such a question, they're confound. Like, what this man got to do with asking a question about a unicorn? Why is he questioning the word Euphrates? It's in the Bible. Why is he questioning the word Tigris River, the Red Sea? Why is he questioning those things? And then when you look at the Hebrew meaning, it's different. And then it's like, wait a minute, something going on. You see what I'm saying? Because we've been taught to look at everything just from a spiritual lens. But the Bible said the word is spiritual. So that means you're going to have to read the word to understand. It says what? Power in words. It's all full circle. This stuff is very simple, but people try to make it hard. So keep speaking to that because words do carry a lot of power. And if you want to hide things, you can hide it within the word, the translation, especially the English language, which is a bastardized language, casting all kind of spells. So speak to the English language versus the Greek language versus the Hebrew language. And, I'm not asking you to give them a whole dissertation because I know they have to come to the conference, but speak to that.
Yeah. So the Greeks and the Romans, they conquered parts of Africa, and they adopted a lot of loan words from the Hebrews, and of course, I think they corrupted it. They may have listened to how they think that they heard the pronunciation of words, and then they said, okay, well, I think it sounded like this, so in our language, this is how we're going to write it using our alphabet, our script, and then sometimes they could also, you know, mix or merge words just so it can be uh, something that they can use in their language, which is kind of like when you look at how translation and transliteration functions, you can kind of see how it's possible that the modern Hebrew lexicon may not be 100% authentic. It could be something that is a mixture of uh, Greek, Persian, Roman, maybe some Hebrew, that they concocted, and we look at the Hebrew lexicon and we say, "Oh, this is the way that the ancient Hebrews were speaking 4,000 years ago." When in reality, we actually might need to go to uh, sub-Saharan Africa, where the people that's in sub-Saharan Africa, they're still speaking a language that is rooted in Hebrew, and it also has uh, some elements of Egyptian mixed in with it. So their language is Afro-Asiatic. It is a mixture of the languages of Egypt and Kush, and also the languages of ancient Hebrew. So that's one of the things that you know I like to research. I like to uncover, because to get to the root of what the original language of the ancient Hebrews when they left with Moses would have been, you have to go to people that should have the DNA of the ancient Egyptians, Cushites, Canaanites, and Israelites in them, in addition to the language, in addition to the culture of the ancient Egyptians and Israelites. And that's not, you're not going to find that in the Ashkenazi, Sephardic, Yiddish speaking, modern speaking Jews. Because one of the things I realized is that we can read the Bible, and then we can look at the Hebrew Strong's word for drum, and we can say, oh, the Hebrew Strong words for drum is this. But then you'll see how it's related to the Persian word for drum. So then you look at the Persian word for drum, and you say, well, wait a minute, the Hebrews didn't speak Persian, so why is this Hebrew lexicon word for drum similar, or even the words that are seen in the English Bible that replace the word for drum in Hebrew? We see it in English like tambourine. You say, wait a minute, what do these things look like when we Google them in terms of what the picture of a Hebrew drum looks like? And they're not going to show you the images of how the drums in ancient Egypt look like, because the drums in ancient Egypt look like the drums that they beat on in Africa. And when you look at the people in ancient Egypt, the little statues and figurines that they have in the museums, you'll see that the ancient Egyptians carried stuff on their head, baskets and things of that nature, just like people in Africa do. So Africans, you'll see them like in Ghana and other countries, women are walking with things on their head, and you don't know how they're able to balance these things on their head. And then you go to ancient Egypt in the museums of Cairo, and you'll see the statuettes of women carrying stuff on their heads. It's like
Right.
we're doing the same things that the ancient Egyptians used to do,
Like they do
and
in
it's no
Haiti.
wonder. Yeah, it's no wonder.
Mhm.
Like when I do my movies, I show the ancient Egyptian language and the Bantu language, and I also show the Hebrew and the Bantu language. And so when you combine the genetics, you combine the language, you combine the cultural practices and traditions and customs of the ancient Hebrews and the ancient Egyptians and the Bantu people, then you start to have to ask yourself, okay, these guys are doing exactly what we would think that the Israelites would have been doing when they left Israel, or when they left Egypt after being there for so long. If you've been in Egypt for so long, you're gonna adopt some of their practices, traditions, and customs when you leave, even some of their language. Because
Mhm.
as African Americans, we we don't speak broken English like they do in Africa and in the Caribbean. We speak what they will call I want to say wouldn't say good English, but there's English in there's United Kingdom English, and there's English, and they think that the people say that our English is like super proper, like our English is super proper, to where they're like, oh, this is a different form of English that we're not used to uh in Africa, because our English is weird to them, because it doesn't sound broken, so uh we don't really have any uh African language left behind in our language. We're speaking full English. You
Mhm.
know, we're not broken English, full English.
Right.
So when the Israelites left Egypt, they would have had to know the Egyptian language and the hieroglyphics and all the traditions, the customs, and the gods that they worship. And that's something that you see in only in Africa, not in Germany and in Lithuania, Poland, and Belarus, and Russia, and Ukraine, and all these areas where the Ashkenazi Jews came from. So I like to, have these questions and make people scratch their heads in the movie, because we really have to start to ask ourselves, um, if they've been lying about who are the real Israelites, then maybe they're also lying about where the true land of Canaan is. And that is like the last blow, because if we can prove that the true land of Canaan is in its majority in sub-Saharan Africa and not modern day Israel, man, the Israelite community in America,
Well, you
they're
better
gonna have
watch
to,
your, you better watch yourself when you say stuff like
yeah,
that. I'm telling you.
they're gonna be like, what? Yeah,
The reason why I say that because we came from the Christian church and they taught us a bunch of stuff. And as we come to some knowledge, we're like, how could they tell us this? How could I believe such a lie? And then we come in the Hebrew faith, right? Well, they've been telling us Israel was there the whole time. And we come in the Hebrew faith and we can't fathom that Israel is not where it's at. You see what I'm saying? Because now we feel like we have this extra layer of knowledge, and we're saying it had to be there. It had to be there. So we're gonna have the same struggle even in the Hebraic faith, where people like, Ron, you're crazy. How could you say Israel is not where it is? You see what I'm saying? And then you look at scripture and you look at the words that are different, that don't really compare or equal to the idea that Israel would be where it is and be in sub-Saharan Africa, right? Now we're coming to the point where we understand that it's the language. If they take the language away from you, they can take your whole heritage away from you, right? Because everything was within the language. Now, there's this new thing, and I've been kind of looking at it. Thanks to you, you actually sent me something. I'm like looking at it about the language now, because we know a lot of people that look at the Paleo Hebrew, the Phoenician, and I guess it may be the same, but looking at the modern Hebrew. But now, when you look at how deep this rabbit hole goes, looking at the Congo seems to hold the key to a lot of things that we may not understand. And from what I understand, even the Ashkenazi Jews are in the Congo, digging up archaeological finds and taking them back to Israel because they believe that's where the place might be. Now, I know when you say stuff like that, Hebrews they're going to want to stone you. But there's nothing wrong with looking at and inclining your ear to hear these different things as to where the truth is. So without you covering it, I kind of know what you know about it, Ron, but don't go too much into it, because I know the conference is coming up, and these are information that Hebrews, they're gonna really shake their head, not just the world, but Hebrews that think they got it. You see what I'm saying? Are gonna be looking at this stuff like, man, this man he's cut from a different cloth. You see what I'm saying? So, and they're gonna understand, and I'm gonna say this boldly, bro. They're gonna understand why the Most High dealing with you. They're gonna start to understand why the seeds you've planted have sprouted roots and is bearing fruit. They're gonna start to understand these things, because a lot of things people don't know about you from a spiritual sense of what you've been seeing when you was a child and what was given to you, even by elders and things. See, people don't be knowing that. And those are some of the things people don't believe, these man that came from the Shamayim. They don't understand it. So now they seeing you bearing the fruit of these spiritual things that was done in secret. So they're gonna start to understand like something is a little different going on that maybe we don't understand. Maybe we need to humble ourselves to this brother a little bit. Maybe we need to humble ourselves to those who the Most High has sent before us with certain knowledge that we can't even fathom. You saw what I'm saying? Because it wasn't given to us first. So expound on the language, because there's some new things that's being unraveled, that's being done in secret by the who's who in terms of the language and the pictographs and things of that nature.
yeah. So ancient. Okay, so the most ancient form of Hebrew is called Proto-Sinaitic Hebrew, and it's proto like Sinai added Hebrew, and that's the Hebrew that the Israelites used and spoke before Moses and the Israelites got to Mount Sinai. That's what they call Proto-Sinaitic Hebrew, and it is found in Egypt, and because in Egypt they have like rocks and stuff that are written, that you'll see Egyptian hieroglyphics, and you also see another form of writing, symbols, and it's not Egyptian hieroglyphics, but you could tell there's two different people lived in this area that spoke two different languages. And this is also seen in the Congo. Now, Egyptian hieroglyphics is not seen in Egypt in addition to ancient Hebrew. Egyptian hieroglyphics in Hebrew is only seen in Egypt and the Congo.
Mm.
When the Israelites left with Moses, they left a mixed multitude. So they left with Egyptians, uh, maybe some Canaanites, Israelites, but they did, the Bible it talks about an Egyptian man and an Israelitish woman were walking in the camp together. And this shows you that in during the time of the Exodus, that there were some Egyptians that were married to Israelite women and had children, that they moved along with Moses and the Israelites. And so these Israelites, Moses could not have been, second in command, or even in command of anything in Egypt if he didn't know how to speak the Egyptian language, or knew how
There
to
it
write
is.
the Egyptian
There it
hieroglyphics.
is.
Joseph too. Joseph couldn't have been illiterate in Egypt, and Moses illiterate in Egypt to be in the status that they were in. So we have to understand that the Hebrews, understood Egyptian, speaking it and writing it and reading it. So the script that the Egyptians use and the script that the Hebrews use, is the ancient script is seen in the caves in the Congo. And not just one cave, multiple caves. And these pictographs are so old that they're not even used in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So when you look at the Dead Sea Scrolls,
Hey,
you're not going to
hey,
see.
you getting too much now. You getting kind of deep now, bro. You get
Yeah.
you getting
Oh
kind of deep.
man.
Not even using the Dead Sea Scroll. Contrast that information with Israel, the current modern Israel.
Okay, so the Dead Sea Scrolls is supposed to be the oldest written, like, proof of, like, Hebrew writings, like the Old Testament. And but they're not written in ancient Hebrew. They're written in, like, what they call Herodian Hebrew, or which is Edomite Hebrew, Hasmonean Greek learned Hebrew. They're written in Block Aramaic Hebrew. They're written in Greek. It's written in Babylonian Hebrew, but it's not written in a Hebrew that was used by the Israelites. When you had King David and King Solomon and Hezekiah and Isaiah and all these guys, it was or King Saul. It was not written in that type of language. So Proto-Sinaitic Hebrew predates uh the Hebrew used in the Dead Sea Scrolls by 1,000 years. So
Mm.
so the Proto-Sinaitic Hebrew is like 1,000 years older than the Hebrew used in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and that type of Hebrew was found in various caves in the Congo. And the interesting thing is too, and this is like a little sneak peek into the movie, is that remember how Abraham, he was trying to get, you know bury his kinfolk in the land of Canaan, and
Yep.
he wanted the Canaanites to say, okay, you got these caves, can I get one of these caves? They're like, yeah, you can get this cave, and you can bury yourself in this cave, and then you can bury Sarah in the cave, you can bury Isaac and Rebecca in the cave. And so Abraham got some caves where he can bury himself and his people in the land of Canaan. Well, in many different rock shelters or caves in Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, the Congo, Zambia, South Africa, different areas, you'll find skeletons in these caves that have our DNA and also the Canaanites' DNA.
Well, you better
Now,
stop.
the Canaanites' DNA is not the DNA of the Lebanese people or the Palestinians or Jews. This DNA that they found inside these caves had the DNA of black people, Africans. So that's how you know that the Canaanites were black and the Israelites were black. But they'll make you believe, all this stuff happened in modern day Israel. So when you look at all these things, you look at the caves that they found, the ancient Hebrew writings, um, the Congolese people that I know, that's in South Africa right now, they were showing me pictures of how the Jews have been coming to since they found these caves. The caves actually has been found in the 1800s, but now because the Congo people have been blowing it up on the web and on the news or on the YouTube, now the Jews have like gotten kind of concerned and interested, and so they've been taking planes and flying to the Congo in an area where there's no like protection. So it's not like Yellowstone National Park. It's not like Kruger National Park where it's like a game drive where you can see the big five, the elephant, the rhinoceros, the lion, and all sorts of stuff. No, these are just rural areas where it's like hardly nobody there, and mountains and caves that the Jews are flying to the Congo, and they're taking planes and expeditions on jeeps, and they're getting into these areas, and they're investigating these caves, and they're even praying and worshiping to the God of Israel, because they're saying that this is the homeland of their ancestors. And the Congolese people that are here in South Africa, they're like, right, the Jews are here, they're in the Congo, in these caves, like doing who knows what. Maybe they're trying to like take pictures and carve a piece of the rock off so they can take it back to Israel, like they always do. They like to take stuff away and whisk it off to Israel so they can say, "Oh, we found this in Israel," when it's really was found in the Congo. And the Congolese people are like, "There's no protection. There's nobody. There's no police or government officials or security that's guarding these caves from the Ashkenazi Jews from coming in there with all their little equipment to do what they got to do." And I showed you the picture of Lorvins of one Jewish guy that was on some type of mound in the middle of in the middle of nowhere in the Congo. It just goes to show you that the Jews may think and say that we're Hamites and we're Cushites and all this other stuff, and they don't recognize we're the true Israelites. But if we're not the true Israelites, and this is just the land of Ham, then why are you even bothering to come into this area to investigate? Why are you coming to investigate and look at the scripts and start to say, oh, well, these are just scribble scrabble. But when you look at the script, I looked at it, and I looked at my album. I looked at my movie poster, and I showed it to her, to one of the ladies, and I said, listen, I said, these are the same symbols on the rocks. And she says, yes, it is. And she actually broke down the symbols uh that was in the rocks that were Hebrew and Egyptian at the Soweto Theater. And Lord, like I told you, she also showed pictures of the fringes that they wore in the Congo, that had the fringes on the four corners of the garments, the four borders of the garments.
Hmm.
So there's two types of fringes that they will wear. Um, One of them was literally on each corner of a garment, four corners. And then there's another type of fringes that they wore that resembles the fringes that most Israelites wear on the ends of their garments. And this is what they usually like. Well, people of high status and authority, like kings and chiefs and elders and priests, would wear these fringes, um, twisted, twisted cloth or twisted hair, and that's what we call zeets. And so yeah, so there's a lot of stuff. Even the name of the creator, which we call the Tetragrammaton, which is four letters. Well, the Congolese people, have a research on that, where you can either use it, you can either say it as a tetragrammaton or a trigram, and we will say Yahuwah and things of that nature, Yahweh, Yahweh. But when you look at the deeper level of it, and what it means in the Kikongo language, it'll blow your head off. It'll blow your head off, because we look at um the modern day Hebrew alphabet, but when you look at the yod, meaning the arm or the hand, and you look at the hey, with the person with his hands up in the air, and you look at the vav, you look at the hands up in the air, and you ask a Kikongo person what do these four letters mean in your language, in when you in your research and studies, they're going to tell you it's something that's a little bit different, but it corresponds to the reason why they call the kingdom of Congo, Kongo, the true land of Israel, and why there are certain words in Kikongo that refer to the center or the navel or the heart of Africa, which is Central Africa,
The earth.
as the promised land, and the place where, of course, Jerusalem is and Israel is, and so man, there's a lot of stuff that people they was breaking down, and like I told you, Lorvins, we had three videographers at the Soweto Theater screening, and one of the videographers was followed back home to his house in about an hour away, and two guys got out of a Mercedes, I don't know, BMW, um, and they had guns. Both guys had guns. They had BMW, no license plate, and they as he was opening up the gate to get into his house, they pulled up on him, and they said, "Open the trunk." And they when he opened the trunk, they took his camera and the footage that was in the camera and the SD cards that he had in the bag. They didn't they didn't take his car. They didn't take his wallet. They didn't take his debit card or credit cards. They didn't take his money. They could have went into his house and just took everything they wanted to take. They didn't take his car. The only thing they said when they pulled up on him in the BMW, they said open the trunk, and they said be quiet, don't scream, just do what we tell you to do. And so he opened the trunk. They took the camera. They took the footage. They took his I think they took his phone and took his keys. They took his keys, but they didn't take his car. They did not take his car. It was two guys. So one guy could have easily gotten in his car and drove off with the keys. They took his keys, but did not take the car. He had other camera gear in the front, in the back seat, that was more expensive than what he had in the trunk. But all they wanted was what was in the trunk. And he told me, Ron, he said, there's no way that these guys would have followed me, just like, like close by. Like he said, I'm in a regular car. They don't know who I am. He said they had to have followed me from Soweto Theater all the way to Ramburg, and they knew what was in my car. They had been watching me, and they knew that they had to get the footage and take the footage back to whoever their master was that told them, hey, go to this Hebrew Sneagles event. And I need you to watch all the videographers and look at the one that's been recording all the stuff that Ron Dalton is saying, all the stuff that the Congo people are saying to the audience, because not everybody stayed to the very end to hear what the Congo people had to say. I would say about half the people left after the movie was done, and I told them, I said, you don't want to leave because we're about to break down some stuff in the Kikongo language and from the Congo that relates to the Bantu people here in South Africa. You don't want to leave. The people had to get to work on Monday, and those that did stay, they heard what Komori had to say, and she dropped some a presentation with pictures and the Kikongo language in comparison to Hebrew and traditions and customs, shofars and so stuff of that nature. There's stuff that people should have stayed. Everyone should have stayed and watched it, but they didn't. And I think they were really trying to get footage of the information that she brought out. And then at the end of the seminar, I mean, the event, I said a lot of stuff in there that that people was like whoa, like we ain't never heard this before, to the crowd, because we're living in perilous times, and I told them this is an opportunity that I cannot waste, and so I gave them the real deal, the people in the audience, of what time we're living in, and how we have an enemy, we have an adversary, an opponent that is against this truth coming out to the world, and against us from knowing who we are and knowing where our land is and all this other stuff. And that enemy and that opponent to all of this is the Jewish community. They don't want us to know who we are. They don't want us to.
Let me address that, Ron. Let me address that. Before I do that, your pa, Jayla, you got anything you want to ask Ron prior to me saying?
Nah.
Man, listen, man. You hear everything that man said?
I know this information is like.
Let me see the pictures. That's all.
Listen,
Not yet. We can't.
I'm so wrapped up in what Ron is saying, man. I'm not about to interrupt that, man. Let him talk.
I'm trying to see.
So many reasons, for security reasons. There's a lot of reasons why a lot of that can't be shared on here.
Yeah, I know.
It's yo.
I got the Birdman hands for November. You know what I'm saying?
But that shows you. Matter of fact, this is a good segue. Your pa, show that video. Now, this is a video I'm going to show. It's not our video, but it's a video Pastor Kelly on the woke. So I'm going to give him credit for that video. I want you to see this video. Okay? In this video, play it real quick and then I'll speak to it. And then Ron, you'll see it too.
The true Jews of Israel are your black ancestors, are your black ancestors, are your black ancestors. The true Jews of Israel are your black ancestors, are your black ancestors, are your black ancestors. The true Jews of Israel are your black ancestors. You think you and Kyle make TikToks together? Kyle only cares about money. Think about it. Are you really making TikToks together, or is Kyle profiting off of you? It's just like the lost tribes of Israel. It's just like the lost tribes of Israel. It's just like the lost tribes of Israel.
I was noticing that you're kind of hanging out a lot with Kyle lately. Is there a problem with that? No, I think it's amazing. It's awesome that someone like you could be okay with someone like him, given all the new information lately. You know, the stuff that's come out about how the Jews stole the black race's identity, that the lost tribes of Judah were actually all Africans. You didn't hear about this? Black people are actually the Jews and people like Kyle have taken that from them? Stop talking to me. When the Jews came to America to escape persecution in World War II, they found that blacks were already the underclass in America. So they had to invent a story for themselves which they could make everyone believe because Kyle runs Hollywood.
Okay, stop it.
What's your thoughts? Please be
Look. When y'all think this is a game with this awakening and what's going on, like, this is not a game. When the Most High say, like, we are the salt of the earth, we are light unto everyone else, the other nations, right? And that this truth is going to come out. It's going to come out. And so now, before, when they used to put these in video, it used to be sort of kind of hidden. And you sort of had to kind of figure it out. That doggone clip is literally telling you straight up with no sugarcoat. Now I got a couple, questions about it. Sugarcoating it. And notice what they said. The new information that's coming out lately. So all the work that we've been putting in, not just us, but all the other Israelites, different places, Iran, and when you tell the truth, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have people showing up with guns at your place trying to stop someone because of footage, because they know it's true. They know it's true. So I'm really going to ask a lot of you, and those who can pray for Brother Ron, pray for me, pray for all of us that are doing this work, pray for Israel as a whole, for those that are going forward. And pray for the IUIC brothers. Pray for the different people who are going out that has the heart. I ain't talking about the people that's sowing division and things. I'm talking about the people that has the heart. Because the Most High going to use whoever you want to use anyway. They said something where they said all of the black people, all the Africans are Israelite. Obviously, that's not true. You see what I'm saying? There's two different kind of black people. Lately, the new information that's coming through, how can we deal with the other people? You okay with dealing with the other people? Notice they starting to make it look like it's all black people. they know this new information come through. And it's just ironic in the timing that Ron says, now all of a sudden there's some different people coming in South Africa teaching similar stuff, but now they're teaching that all people from Africa are Israelites. When, let's be honest, even in their chart, Africa's not even on it. But they're saying that all Africans are Israelites. So we know that's not true, but that's what's being said on South Park. Now that really opened up my eyes. How can an organization, some organization, saying the same thing that South Park is saying? Exactly the same message. Ron's message is similar, but it's different, saying that there are people with our DNA that's from Africa, that's there, that where it belong. But then you have others are saying all of them are Israelites. The same message from the stuff. So we have to understand, like, there's some trickery going on here. Now these people know what's going on. They say, "Hey, man, these people starting to wake up." So, and notice the black guy that he said it to, he didn't even accept the information. He didn't even accept it. So you're gonna see a lot of this going on. So Ron, speak to that clip.
Well, people, people are just, like, okay, so people don't understand that we have informants, agents, moles, what do you want to call them? Undercover, people that are following this awakening from America to Africa. And I mean, I can't 100% say that certain people have been sent to South Africa. At the same time, I'm here to speak to the South African people, to talk about whatever it is they want to talk about, and confuse people here on certain things that they're saying. Because when you listen to the likes of Umar Johnson, when you listen to the likes of Bishop Nathaniel and IUIC, then you're going to be confused. Because if you really wanted to dive into questions, like the brother said to Bishop Nathaniel, are all Jews African? And Bishop Nathaniel said, yes. He said, if you're from the African continent, then yes, you are a Jew. And the African continent is large, and there's a lot of Africans on the African continent, with different languages and DNA, cultures and traditions and oral histories. How do you lump all Africans as Israelites on a show when the South African interviewer says, are all Jews African, or are all Africans Jews? And his answer was yes. And so, but then when I don't know if I didn't see the whole interview, but I seen what I was tagged to. And if the same guy would have said, okay, who are white people? And if he would have said, all white people are Edomites. If the black guy that interviewed Bishop Nathaniel said, okay, hold on, Jose, I know in my Bible that Rebecca and Jacob had Jacob and Esau from the same union. They were twins. So you mean to tell me, Bishop Nathaniel, that all Africans are Israelites, the descendants of Jacob, and Jacob's brother Esau, this is where we got all white people come from? They're gonna say, well, that means that they're our brothers. White people are our brothers. We have the same mother and father. Rebecca and Jacob we have the same mother and father. What? You're like, this is like so crazy stuff that you gotta start scratching your head, like, So how does that work in the reality, the world that we live in today? Have you ever seen two Haitians have a white child that grows up to be a 18-year-old white looking boy like Mark Zuckerberg? or a man like Donald Trump, like when you go to like Nigeria with the Igbos, you go to Sudan or you go to Senegal, you look at two black people, they have kids. You can't say, well, okay, this is an albino child. Oh, that's a Caucasian child. No, an albino, when he grows up, he's gonna have woolly hair. His features gonna look just like his mom and dad, African. His DNA is gonna be African. He ain't gonna look nothing like Mark Zuckerberg or Brad Pitt or Steven Spielberg or Tom Hanks or Donald Trump or Bill Clinton. He's not gonna look like that. But yet we in the Israelite community tend to think that somehow, some way, two African descent people can give birth to a Caucasian, and it does not. It's never happened in reality. It's not. It's not something that doesn't make any sense. And so, but we sit here and we see people in South Africa. Like, wait a minute, I'm here. I'm in South Africa. They're in South Africa. How come I'm not on the show to set the like? How come I didn't get invited on the show? I just showed a movie in South Africa, in Soweto. And I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. People. He even said to the IUIC, he said, you guys supported Kyrie Irving, and I want to know why you supported him, because there's something going on right now in South Africa, just like what Kyrie Irving was happening with the Kyrie Irving incident, and all that thing that went down. There's something happening right now in South Africa. Talk to me about that. And I was thinking, like, well, why? How does he know something is going on in South Africa, similar to the Kyrie Irving event? If he didn't hear from the byways that this guy from America, Ron Dalton, that did the movie Hebrews and Negroes, he's here in South Africa trying to show it, and he's getting shut down, and he's getting opposition from the Jews and the embassy of Israel and the Jewish Board of Deputies. I mean, people are telling me in interviews and meetings, the embassy of Israel, the embassy of the Jewish people are not happy with you showing the movie, and they don't want it to happen. And I'm like, what? The embassy of Israel in South Africa is telling you guys that they're not happy with me showing the movie here? And when you tell me, okay, a board of Jews are not happy, and they complain about you showing the movie or planning on showing the movie here. What board? Is it the Jewish Board of Deputies? Because when you say board, a board is like something that's been formulated. You can't just look at 5 Jews on the street and say they are part of a board. You can't look at 10 Jews walking in a mall and say, okay, they're part of a board. No, when somebody says a board of Jews are unhappy and they complain to us about the movie being shown here, then you do a Google research, you say, oh, there's a Jewish Board of Deputies in South Africa. If somebody says the embassy of Israel or the embassy of the Jewish people, you say, okay, well, let me Google that. And you say, you Google embassy of the Jewish people, South Africa, and what are you going to get? The embassy of Israel, South Africa. So this is not a game, and we got people here like Dr. Umar Johnson, IUIC, not just IUIC as like a certain chapter or a certain like Mississippi IUIC or Atlanta IUIC. No, you got the leader of IUIC in South Africa, the leader, and his elder with the Bible, so they can read scriptures. They can read Revelation 2:9, 3:9, whatever else they want to read, and so you have to ask yourself, okay, Ryan Dalton is here. He's been here for the last couple months, like almost 6 months. And now all of a sudden, Dr. Umar Johnson and IUIC show up on the scene. And they're trying to gain the spotlight in South Africa. Two South Africans. What's going on here? Like, who's next? Is GOCC going to be in South Africa next? And then any other camp? I think this like some of the stuff that I'm seeing, it's just like really making me scratch my head. Like, like something sounds kind of fishy here. But one of the things, Lorvins, that none of them are going to say. None of them are going to say this because they got to hold on. At least IUIC has to hold on to Israel. They got to hold on to Israel as the Northeast Africa being Israel. And Lorvins, you already know that in the Bible we see the lion, we see the leopard, we see the ostrich, we see the hyena, we see the jackal, we see so many different animals, the peacock, the ivory that King Solomon, needed. It does not say in the Bible King Solomon mines. There's nowhere in the Bible that it says King Solomon's mines in Hebrew or in English. You can't read your Bible and say, "Oh, King Solomon's mines." No, it just says King Solomon had a fleet of ships, and certain times during the year he would go and ride on these ships, which we thinking of ships like, oh wow, a ship. We think of when we look at a ship, we look at like a cruise ship or a big ship like a U.S. Navy battleship. But when you really when you think about it, wait a minute, the Israelites had ships, or did they have boats? Did they have a ship or a boat? So when you look at when you say okay, they had a boat, they didn't have a ship, they had a boat, and they were on the Nile River. Then they could ride the Nile River all the way down to the Central African region, like Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo. And what did they try to get? What were they trying to get? They were trying to get apes, peacocks, ivory tusk. How do you get an ivory tusk? Well, you gotta cut the tusk off an elephant.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get a peacock? Well, in the Congo, there's a Congo peacock. What about an ape? Are you gonna find apes like gorillas and bonobos and chimpanzees, orangutans? Are you gonna find apes in Israel or in Jordan or in Saudi Arabia or Egypt? No. You're gonna find these animals in Central Africa. Matter of fact, the only place in the world where you can find a bonobo ape, which is I think Koba in the Planet of the Apes. Koba was a bonobo, and bonobos often walk on both legs like a human. They walk on two legs sometimes.
Planet of the Apes.
Bonobo,
Interesting.
yeah, that ape is only found in the Congo. That ape is only found in the Congo, and in the Congo, you can see evidence of not just one species of elephants, but two: the forest elephant and the savanna elephant. The forest elephant and the savanna elephant. And what Professor Kamoya from the Congo was teaching at the premiere was that the Israelites not only did they blow the ram's horn, which is a male sheep, but they also blew the elephant horn. And so when you go to Ghana, the Ghanaians also have a tradition of blowing not only the ram's horn, but an elephant horn as a shofar. And it's a little bit longer. And look, there's a lot of things that we have not understood in the Bible, and we haven't asked any questions because in Israel, if lions existed, then lions had to have had something that they preyed on. What do lions like to eat? They like to eat zebras, giraffes,
Gazelles.
wildebeest, African buffaloes, wild boars, sometimes maybe a crocodile. Sometimes he'll steal what the hyenas are eating, and the hyenas are having a feast. The lions that come up and take the food from the hyena. Where are these animals in Israel? Where is there a giraffe, a hyena, an African buffalo, a wildebeest, a giraffe? Where are these animals in modern day Israel? They're not in Israel. So the lion can't live in an area like the desert and expect to survive because he can't eat anything. He can't hunt anything. So there's a lot of critical thinking and logic that we need to do as Israelites that sometimes I say, look, these Israelite teachers, they're coming here and they're trying to gain this spotlight. They're trying to say, well, listen to me very closely. Listen what I gotta say. Everybody's listening right now. Listen what I gotta say. Northeast Africa is Israel, and so I mean, I know I sound like I'm rambling now, but there's a lot of things that we have to pay attention to because this is not just simple coincidence that all these things have been happening since the Kyrie Irving incident and it's spilling over into South Africa or just Africa in general because the Jews are watching. They've been following what's going on, and there's other people also in the black community that's also watching, and they don't want to be left out the next stage of the awakening, which is going to be in the continent of Africa. But you cannot have a Hebrew awakening only in America, the Caribbean, and South America.
Oh
You
no,
just cannot.
it's gotta be worldwide, and Africa is center stage. Why is that? Because even when you look at prophecy, look at Armageddon, look at the last battle. Where you think is taking place? What do you think they fighting for? See, just like you say, critical thinking and logic. What do you think they fighting for? What causes people to rule? Resources, minerals. You see what I'm saying? What gives you the edge? Resources, minerals. Those are what give you edge over everybody else. And so when you look at this battle, what's going to happen is for the battle of souls. But when I say souls, I mean the souls of man. Those are son of Yah. But not just the son of Yah, but what Yah has given dominion to his sons too. That's how you got to look at it. It's his sons, but he gave them to protect, to have dominion over everything on the earth. That's the minerals. That's the land.
Exactly.
That's the ocean. Everything. So what do you think the enemy is going to go after? The minerals.
And that's in Lorvins that the covenant or the gift or promise that God gave Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob wasn't a Bentley. It wasn't a brand new Mercedes. It wasn't like a 50-inch LED OLED Samsung TV. It wasn't chains. It wasn't none of that stuff. It was the land. It was. He said, "I'm gonna give you the land."
Because everything came from the land, the minerals.
Exactly.
So when you hear people, that's why it's imperative, man. You people, those out there, the Israelites, those who are fervently trying to live the ancient path. When I say live the ancient path, I'm talking about all aspect of it. You see what I'm saying? All aspect. You got to take everything that comes with it. You see what I'm saying? When you find yourself fighting against something that you don't quite understand, then you have to revert back to being a child over and over so you can relearn this stuff. Especially when somebody brings something new to you that you've never heard before. The scriptures say, incline your ear. At least listen to it. You just never know. There's a ruach inside of you might be able to hear. You know what I'm saying? He said, how would you learn if I don't send somebody? People think it's just the precept of the commandment. He's talking about everything. Our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So we have to incline our ear that when someone comes to you with a news, be careful lest you entertain angels unaware. Someone is bringing something to you to help you grow. You see what I'm saying? But just like, oh man, you just said it. Folks got to get out of their feelings. People get in their feelings so much. And it's the flesh. Paul talks about it all the time, killing the flesh daily. Because Paul had to be in his feelings. When he persecuted the Israelite, he was in his feelings. I mean, he was persecuting. You can only begin to persecute in such a way because you sow in your feelings. It is the flesh that does these things. So when you get out the flesh and you gain better understanding, better shalom, a better rest, then the Most High can start to operate in you. But with all that bitterness like Esau had, when you start to operate, man, look, it will never work. And then you'll be confused and you'll be starting spewing all kind of stench that no one needs to hear. And so we have to always back up and humble ourselves. Go ahead,
Ron. I'm sorry, real quick.
No, Jay, it's on you.
One of y'all said something. I forget if it was Ron who said it before, or if it was you, Lorvins. But yeah, it reminded me of a statement that one of y'all made about if a man found a diamond in the land, he didn't go and bring the diamond back to who owned it. He would go and purchase the land because it's possible there's many more diamonds inside the land. Mm-hmm. So the land was absolutely what was the value that was in. That's why the scripture always talks about giving the land of Canaan, giving the different lands of Abraham and things of that nature, and how we should inherit and things of that nature. It's what we should be doing for our own children, if possible, giving them land. It is the ultimate thing. It's what we farm on. It's how we eat. It's how the animals eat. Everything that we gain as far as richest for us as a people is the land. So I just wanted to put that out there because it's very important.
And the
It's
thing
very
about
huge.
that too, people will hear someone talk like that and they say, "Oh, he's so carnal. He's just thinking about the physical things."
Right.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't see your spirit until I see the physical in you. You see what I'm saying? Because no one has seen the Most High. I ain't never seen the Most High. So if you tell me you seen the Most High, the scriptures say no one has ever seen him. So the only way for me to see him is through your actions. Faith without works is dead. You want to tell me you have the spirit, but then and then you ain't got no job as a man, or you just operating outside of the scripture and expecting results. You see what I'm saying? You operating outside of the commandment of the, and you expect all the results in the world. But then they say faith without works is dead, and then you want to call me carnal because I want to see your fruit. Show me the money. Show me the money. You want me to believe you. When Yahusha went, he was proving himself. He wasn't just talking. You see what I'm saying? He said, man shall what? Not live by bread alone. That means he telling you, man, show me the money. Show me the bread. You give me the word, but feed me too. You see what I'm saying? So he's a just Elohim. He's balanced. Don't come to me telling me you got a dream and you can't show me in the scripture wherein you can prove what's going to happen. Nah, I don't want to hear that. Because the scripture already tell you, they're going to come tell you, I had a dream, I had a dream, I had a dream, I had a dream. It already warned you. It's telling you they're going to be people. It is not to say that they don't have the zeal. I'm not saying that. Some of them have the zeal. They love the Most High and they believe that. But believe it, Satan also comes disguised as an angel of light. And you will believe a lie because he's going to send you a strong delusion because the Most High, he will work in you wherever your seat of appetite is. And if you one of them person that like to dream a lot and you think that's where your power is, oh, he going to use that. Not only just to show you truth, but also deceive you. Because that's where your focus is on. You see what I'm saying? So, and I know some of the stuff is really hard to say and it's hard to accept, but it is what it is. I need to see your fruit in order for me to believe the words that's coming out of your mouth. It's just that simple. Go ahead, Ron. I mean, it's crazy because you hear people say things and they speak so high and mighty and so spiritual, which is awesome. Great. But back it up. Back it up. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, we have to look at how the Bible says the land of Canaan is the land of milk and honey. It says the land will be abundant with bread and rain from the heavens and water from below. It says that he'll have we have iron and silver and gold. And when you look at these things and you say, well, the Jews, have been the main ones mining silver and gold and diamond mines in Africa, making
Everything.
tons of money, like the landlords and the Oppenheimers and the Ruperts and all these different Jewish people that came from the Baltic areas like Latvia, Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine, Russia, Germany, Poland. Like these Jews that are coming from these areas, they're going into Africa and they become like the mining gurus, uh and making tons of money mining the silver and gold and the copper, the tin, the brass, the granite, and all these minerals of platinum of the land of Africa. And when you look at these things and you say, well, I want to go to a land where I can get a lot of honey because the ancient Egyptians like honey, and honey is seen as being a major producer in a lot of countries in sub-Saharan Africa, not Israel. So if you look at the top 50 countries in the world that produce honey, Israel is not on the map. But you have a lot of countries in sub-Saharan Africa that is on the map for producing honey. Now, when you want to go to see where you can find livestock, uh, or animals that produce milk, such as cows and goats, then you're not going to say, I need to go to Israel because Israel has an abundance of cows and goats that can provide milk. No, you're gonna go to Africa. Africa is got goats and sheep and all types of animals is walking around. Wild. Like you can see animals walking around in Ghana and South Africa, and so these animals produce milk. And we know that to produce bread, you're going to need wheat and barley and all types of grains. All this is also in Africa. When you look, when you look at the precipitation and annual rainfall versus the water that's inside the ground, you're going to see when you do your due diligence of research, which a lot of us don't do, you're going to compare and contrast Israel to places like Tanzania and the Congo, Uganda, and you're going to say, in Cameroon, you're going to say, whoa. He said, this place is abundant in wildlife and all these things. So it's no wonder when you look at Africa and Central Africa, and you see on the Google image of the earth, you look down at Africa, you see, oh, this big green spot right here, this dark green spot is in Central Africa. The desert part of Google Earth, you'll see is in the north. And then you'll see, okay, Namibia is kind of desert like. We will understand why if you understand the topography of the land. But when you look at the most greenest place in the continent of Africa on Google Earth, it's in the Congo. And any Israelite that's listening, they know this. They can't say, "Oh, Ron, you're wrong." No, it's the truth. And so when you look at the grasslands, you look at the forest, you look at the savanna land, all these lands are centered in Central Africa. But there's a lot of clues in Nigeria and Cameroon and Congo, DRC, RC, Loango and Gabon and Zambia, all these areas, British Rhodesia, British Tanganyika, Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya. When you look at Rwanda, Burundi, the Nile River, the White Nile, the Blue Nile, the Black Nile, there's a lot of stuff that we have not yet uncovered. At least there's a lot of Israelites that they're not teaching these things. They're not teaching none of this stuff. Most Israelites are not teaching any of these things in regards to the continent of Africa because they want you focused on Esau and focus on UFO chariots and focus on the land of modern day Israel, which majority is a desert. It's a desert. If it wasn't a desert, Lorvins, they wouldn't be desalinating the Mediterranean Sea. If the waters, the rivers of Israel and the lakes, like the Sea of Galilee, the Dead Sea, you can't drink nothing in the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is like a wrap. It's the lowest elevation in Israel. It's nothing growing, nothing swimming in the Dead Sea. It's the Dead Sea for a reason. So you're not going to drink from the Dead Sea. The Jordan River is dried up. The Sea of Galilee is dried up. So they have no choice but to desalinate the water. If Israel did not have the technology to desalinate the water of the Mediterranean Sea, they wouldn't be able to supply the water demand for anything in Israel. So without water, how do you sustain life? How do you sustain any type of like farmland? You got to have water. You got to drink it, you got to bathe in it, you got to wash in it, you got to irrigate in it. You have the sewage. Everything is based on water. So when you look at Israel, anybody can do their due diligence and Google Israel topography,
Well,
climate.
Ron, they're gonna say you're thinking too carnal, Ron. You're thinking
The
too
thing is,
carnal.
look, Lorvins, it is a known fact the majority of Israel is a desert. It's a known fact.
Mhm.
So how can that be the land of Canaan if we Google or we do our due diligence and research Israel? Is it an arable plush land? 100%. No, they're gonna say 60% and maybe even more is a desert. So that's
But
more than half of the
Ron,
state of Israel that's desert.
the Most High can turn it green. The Most High can make that land green. The dead people no longer be dead anymore. You know what I'm saying? So all these different things, the Most High can do, like, which we know He can, right? But Ron, what are you saying? Are you saying the Most High can't make that desert land green?
But look, Lorvins, the Most High is God. So when God told Moses, you got to get all the elders, you got to tell them it's time to go. We got to leave, and we got to go. The Israelites could have said, the Most High is God. Tell him to send us a ship or something, or teleport us to the land of Canaan. Why we got to walk Why we gotta get up and walk? Where are we walking to, Moses? Like, how far we gotta go till we get to the land of Canaan? They could have said, Moses, you need to go back and tell God, look, we ain't got time to be walking all this length, crossing those sea, send a UFO ship, send a teleportation Stargate so we can get out of here real quick. But the Most High didn't do that. The Most High didn't do that. So we got to look at the reality of Scripture. we looking for all types of things that happen like this is a Marvel movie. You know, like I don't understand. Like even in the Marvel movies, they have limitations on their power. They don't have unlimited power unless you're the Beyonder. But even the Beyonder can be fought by the X-Men. So we have to really look at these things. And Lord, like you said, they're gonna say, well, Ron, the Dead Sea can come back to life, and well, Ron, the Israel can be turned from a desert land to a lush land like the Garden of Eden. But you know, right now I don't see none of that happening, and we're getting close to the mark of the beast, and we need answers. We need answers. People are hurting in America. They don't know how they're going to survive unless they work 2 or 3 jobs and just kill themselves. I don't know. Like Lorvins, I was in America when the Kyrie Irving incident happened, and I when I was in Florida going to Publix, and I was bringing up groceries for my 8 children. I said, man, I can't survive here in America. I had to get back to Africa because stuff here in America is too expensive. You know, even like Lorvins in Michigan, to rent an Airbnb in Detroit is minimum $8,000 and up. $10,000 to rent an Airbnb for 1 month. $10,000 to rent an Airbnb in Detroit for 1 month. They have a listing on Airbnb for a tent for $2,000 a month. So you can get a tent for $2,000 a month on Airbnb. To rent a SUV for my family, like a Suburban, 7-passenger, 8-passenger Suburban for just 6 days, Enterprise, $2,300 for 6 days of a rental car. When you go to the grocery store, when I went to the grocery store last year to get groceries, if I spent $150, my wife she would say to me, like, did you go grocery shopping? I said, yeah. I said, this is it. $150. This is it. Like, you want me to spend $300? You know, and see, we don't understand. Like this is not how the Most High designed us to live. The wilderness does not mean we're going to the grocery store. The wilderness does not mean, we're like in Ezekiel 38. We'll talk about the wilderness. That is not us going to Kroger's, Food Lion, ShopRite, Publix, Walmart, Sam's Club. We're not going to get Sam's Club fake chicken. We're not going to Walmart getting their chicken. We're not going to Kroger's getting their expensive meat, and that's the wilderness. No, the wilderness is supposed to be what the land provides. So we have to understand that as long as we are dependent on the grocery store and whatever they put on the shelves and they mark it up, and we have to be able to afford it, that cannot be the wilderness, because anything in the grocery store requires payment. And that means you got to have money. And what did the Bible say? He calls it all, big and small, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark or the name or the image of the beast. If you don't have it, you cannot buy or sell. What are we doing? What are we doing? You go to the grocery store. Me and you are the buyer, and we walk to the grocery store. We see all of the seller's goods on the shelves. The seller has all their goods on the shelves with barcodes on it and their brand name on it. And Ron Dalton, I'm the buyer, and I have my credit card in hand, and I'm ready to shop, and I'm ready to buy from the seller. That's exactly what the market of beast is talking about. But when you go to Africa and you walk in the farmland and you pick a carrot out the ground, or some carrots or some onions or whatever it is, or you kill a chicken and you eat it, defeather it and you eat it, or you kill a goat, you're not paying for nothing. You're not buying and selling nothing because it's on the land. So we have to understand that this system is designed for the West and countries that depend on the grocery store. But Africa is still a country that you can still live without the grocery store. So Americans need to really get that in their thick head that, listen, hey guys, how many black farmers are there in America? less than 1%. So that means that 45 million black people have 1% black farmers to feed them if they cannot go to the grocery store. So you need to basically say, oh, we can't go grocery shopping because we have no money, and we need to go down to the South because that's where all the black farmers are at, and ask them, hey, can you feed us? Black farmers, can you feed us? And what are they gonna say? I don't have no food to feed all y'all. Like, y'all gonna have to go somewhere. Like, I can't feed y'all. This is the reality.
Yeah, it's amazing because I think the way everything is shaping up to be, me and Jay Lutz, we did a song called Wheat and Tares. You want to see who the wheat and tares are for real. You know what I'm saying? Those who walk with faith, those who have that oil in their lamp that's not going to run out. And you're going to really see that his people produces. Like the Most High people, his people, they produce. They don't just talk. They produce. They you know what I'm saying? They show output from whatever was input in them. The input is the word. So once the word marinated in you, there's got to be an output. The output is not just repeating a bunch of jargons, repeating everything that they can say. No, output in action. So that's why whenever he gave the prophet something, they had to go out and perform it. They didn't just keep it in. They just went all spiritual. It was something that the people had to do, whether it be repent. But what does repent mean? Turn away from what you were doing. So that means you got to do something else. It's still an action. There's still a fruit that you have to fruit meant for repentance. So I'm saying, so there's something we have to do. Everything is not just going to Shabbat assembly and just always just sitting there and listening to your leader talk, and then you go home, you got the same problems that won't go away. And then they tell you, come get delivered, and they put their hands on you, and they pray, and they do all this stuff, and then you go home, and you still going through what you're going through.
You know what? We could come together and go learn how to fish, go learn how to hunt some animals, go learn how to raise some farmland, go learn how to build something. We could do that because that's the purpose of having all these hands. If people research, the purpose of bringing those little ones into the world is so that you can have more hands, so that you can work, and so that you can produce. You wasn't just having children for the purpose of just having children. They came along to help you build something. So that's what we're supposed to do with one another.
So that it continues. And the thing, go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
The problem is we got Israelite leaders that want to be worshipped. And they want to be they want to be like they want to be like a shepherd. They want to be called like Yahusha or captain, general, priest, bishop. They want to be called all types of names. And then we listen to them, and I'm listening to them like, come on, guys, be for real. Like, are you paying rent or are you paying a mortgage? And if you ask any Israelite, hey, where you stay at? And they say, I stay in I got a place. I like, is you paying rent? Yeah. Well, that means you don't own it. That means you're gonna have to constantly have money in order to stay there. And if you don't own it, then you definitely don't own the land to farm anything. The landlord does. If you say, well, I got a mortgage. Okay, well, so you got to keep paying it until you pay it off. But even when you pay it off, I said, what else do you got to pay in order to keep your house and your land? And then Israelites will act dumbfounded and say, oh, it's my land once I pay it off. No, you got to pay property taxes, brother. You know this. Oh, yeah, I do. How much does it cost? When you got to pay it? Once a year. What happens if you don't pay it? I can lose my land. Well, if you lose your land, that means you lose your farm too, right? Yeah. So that means you got to have money, right? Yeah, because how do you pay property taxes? With money. Yeah. And when money is not used anymore, it's going to be debit, credit, digital money, biometrics. You're going to have to do whatever the government tells you that they require for you to pay for your property taxes, and you're going to have to comply. Complying means obey. Obey is a form of worship. Look at the Hebrew word shakah. Shakah also means to be obedient. Worship also means to be obedient. In our English Bible, we see the word worship, but it also can mean to be obedient to the beast.
You are giving a lot right now.
Yeah, so these things are
Hey, that's the that well, that's like you get stabbed in the stomach right there, bro.
Boy,
and Lorvins. Look, Lorvins, I say, listen, I say, guys, we know that the Bible did not happen in America, and the Israelites were like, yep, they didn't. And I said, so tell me why the Israelites talk about hyenas and ostriches. Are ostriches and hyenas in America? When the last time you seen a hyena in Detroit or in Miami or in New York? And they're gonna say no. I said, but it's in the Bible. It says the word hyena. So the Israelites were not in China. They were not in Scandinavia. They were not in Iceland or Greenland. They were not in Alaska. They were not in India. They were not in Australia. The Israelites were somewhere that they seen a hyena. They called it a word in Hebrew, just like they called a leopard and a lion and an ostrich. I said, so why is it that we see people in Africa wearing ostrich feathers on their head, and they got hyenas as pets in Nigeria, in other areas? But this is what the Bible says.
But America's their native land. Okay.
Exactly.
Wow.
They go to the zoo. They go to the zoo, Ron. What you mean?
This is crazy.
But you know what? That's what I mean. It's those simple questions a child would ask you. Well, Mom, Dad, well, if we're from here, why don't I see any hyenas? Why don't I see elephants in America? We went to the zoo and seen them, but Mom, they're not from here. So, and then you got people saying the slave ships didn't exist. Like, what have we become?
Lorvins, hold on. The reason why Israelites on Clubhouse used to hate me, and they should never come into my room on the stage, because when you raise your hand and I'm bringing them to the stage, I don't care if you're IUIC, GOCC, GMS, Sakari, whatever, and you start challenging the moderators, even if you're Jewish or Arabic, I'm gonna say, all right. I said, you can ask me any question you want, and I'm gonna ask you a question. And so they get on there and ask me a silly question, and I'll give my answer. And I say, okay, now it's time for me to ask you some questions. And a lot of times, it's all it takes is simple yes and no questions, yes and no questions. And I'll do this all the time. I say, answer the question, yes or no. And if you don't know, just give me a guess. Don't say, this is what they always say, I know what you're trying to do. I know what you're trying to do. I'm not going to answer the question because I know what you're trying to do. I'm like, I'm not playing checkers and chess with you. I'm not trying to tell you to make a move, because I already know that once you make that move, I'm going to checkmate you. I just want you to answer the question, yes or no. I said, come on, it's not that hard. Just answer the question. You're an adult, right? Yeah. Well, just say yes or no. I mean, come on. And I ask some simple questions, like, for instance, like, just like I can ask somebody, okay, is the word hyena in the Bible? Yes or no? And they'll say, yeah. And I say, is the word lion in the Bible? Yes or no? Yeah. Is the word leopard in the Bible? Yes. Unicorn? Yes. And I'll answer a question. I say, okay, well, let's analyze this. And they will start to say, once they start to engage in a conversation with me, they'll realize that I'm taking them out to the deep end to drown them. And they'll say, I don't want to answer more questions. And then they usually will just like dip off into the audience, or they'll just leave. Like, yeah, see, you just think you know everything. You're arrogant, and I don't like this because you guys team up on me and you don't let me speak. I'm gonna let you speak, but you won't answer the question. You're mute. And this is what happens in most people, that even pastors, if they say, well, I understand what you're saying about we're the Israelites, but you got to understand that the Gospels say this and the Gospels say that. And I say, okay, well, let's have a debate right now, but you can't use any of Paul's writings, none of them. They'll say, huh? And I say, you cannot use any of Paul's writings. You can use the Gospels of Christ, but you can't use Paul's writing. They'll say, no, I can't do that. And I say, why not? I said, why can't you debate me about whether the law is still valid or whether this or that without Paul's writings? And they won't do it. And then I'll say, okay, sir, does the truth matter? Yes or no? And they'll say, of course it does. And I'll say, does God want us to know the truth? Yes or no? And they'll say, I know what you're trying to do. I don't want to answer that question. I'm like, what? Like, so you mean to tell me you don't want to answer the question? When I ask you the question, does God want us to know the truth or does he want us to know a lie? What do you think? Answer the question. They're like, I see what you're trying to do, but I'm not going to answer the question. What? Like Lorvins, if I ask you, does God want us to know the truth or to know a lie? You're going to say God wants to know the truth.
Yeah, yes.
Because Satan is the father of lies.
Right.
So either we're going to love Satan's teachings or God's teachings. So if I ask a pastor this question, why would the Christian pastor of like 20, 30 years that has a congregation in the church, why would he say, I know what you're trying to do, I'm not going to answer the question?
It's because you know what? And it's crazy because psychologically, they know they lying. In a sense, because if you say, I know what you're trying to do, and you won't answer the question, you know you're about to get tripped up because your understanding is so limited. So subconsciously, you know you're limited in what you're saying. You know somehow some of the things you're saying ain't even adding up. So I mean that's crazy, man. That's crazy. Man, but I know we've been on here for a minute, but like I know this event that we have November, just to let y'all know, and trust me, this is only 5%, maybe even less of what Ron has uncovered. And it's just not Ron. There are others behind the scene with all this information. I'm talking about premium, unknown information you've never heard, information where I'd be like, my goodness. I said, this is crazy. This is crazy, man. Like, and when you hear it and your ruach kind of resonate with it because it makes sense. Because one thing about what I like about Ron too, a lot of what he shows you, it's in the scriptures. So don't get it twisted. Don't think this stuff is just coming from scholars and no, Ron, he uses the scriptures to show validity in what he is researching and seeing. So this ain't just nobody, oh, we just getting information kind of like the chemical people do. It's downloaded, God, you know, whatever high. If it sounds good, then that's what they go by because it sounds pretty and elegant and eloquent. Kind of like the Greeks, they used to like great sayings. So when you have conversation with a lot of chemists, you will notice they just love words and how it sounds because they believe they're God. You know what I'm saying? In a sense. So that's what the Greeks used to like. But the thing about it is that a lot of this information that's coming out, it's tied in with scripture. And it may not be the way you see scripture, but it's tied in from a practical sense, not just all high level spiritual. Spiritual download comes, but then you get your walking mandate and you go walk it out. Because a lot of times people don't understand spiritual matters when you speak spiritual matters. How can you understand the spiritual things when your brother who you see, you can't, you see what I'm saying? So I'm not going to tell you all this spiritual stuff and how it came to me because you're not going to understand anyway. Especially when I show it to you in the physical. So if I show you something in the physical that I've seen spiritually and I'm showing it to you in the physical and you don't believe the physical, why would I continue talking about spiritual matters? You won't understand. So if I say Ron has been given a lot of stuff has been prophesied and people has been coming and then the word come to pass, not just come to pass, but come to pass in the action. The word has come to pass. The Most High say when he speaks, his word doesn't go void. So the Most High gives somebody a word to give to you and it don't come to pass, they just might be a false prophet according to Isaiah. But if that word has come to pass, maybe the Most High is dealing with that person. I ain't talking about one. I'm talking about imams and elders that has come and talked to us and has revealed things. We don't talk about these things because we're not trying to spook you out because a lot of people won't even understand it anyway. So instead, you just see the fruits of the things that has been already prophesied. You see what I'm saying? And so this conference is going to be amazing. I mean, because a lot of things we just won't be able to talk online. You have to be in person to see that. And the movie that's being premiered, it's oh my goodness. You see what I'm saying? That's all I got to say. And if you ain't in the building, you're not gonna be able to see it probably until 2024.
Man, I love what Ron is bringing to the table here, man. Because we've been so spiritual in this place for so long. He's helping to bring the just weights to it, the balance. He's actually showing the physical things that we need to see. He's actually going to do the research. He's actually going to get the physical things that lead us back to the land, that lead us back to Israel, that lead us back to Africa. Uh, this is a lot of things that we have not been paying attention to because everyone has kept us so spiritual. And we want to hear the spiritual things. We want to hear the smooth things. But we don't want to hear that we should actually go out here and do the work. We don't want to have to go ahead and put our plow into the ground and make this move happen. We need to come together and put in this work, man. That's what needs to happen. And so I love this happening because I used to be one of them people out there in the sky too, in the Shamayim, you know, ain't hearing nothing physical that needs to happen. But we need some physical things happening. We need to physically pick our brother up off the ground, physically get together and teach our children and teach one another how to go and do these very simple things that are confounding the wise. And so this is what I love that he's bringing to the table. So I'm here for it, man. I'm ready to see where it goes.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, you know, even with me, I have testimonies, you see what I'm saying, and how the scriptures say, test the spirit by the spirit and know who labor among you and know their fruits. I literally had people literally tell me out of their mouths that they love me. Literally. That they love me. But then when I'm not around, they're telling people not to listen to my music. The same person that will tell me that you love me, and then you turn around and tell folks not to listen to my music. So the thing about it is that how is that even love? But I heard it though. See, I'm the witness to that. And then you turn around and say that. What am I supposed to say about you? I can't make nothing up. I can only say what you've showed me. I can only show. So not only that, it was a lie. And who's the father of lies? Hasatan. What is Hasatan? Ron, you said it best in that interview. And an adversary. Sometimes we make ourselves adversary of people for no reason. Literally, we make ourselves adversaries of people for no reason, for whatever reason inside of you that has caused you to become that way. Because some people don't want to see you do good. Hasatan don't want to see you do good. Cain saw Abel and how good he was doing. Cain couldn't do good, so he did the opposite. There are people, when they see you do good and that's all you do, guess what? They can't stand it. They have no choice. They've been ordained to do the opposite. It's just that simple. So, you got anything?
Get y'all passports. Yo, I mean, I was just sitting here thinking, like, I'm like, man, no wonder why, you know, they push this crime and the hate for one another. It's like, so we cannot return. You know what I'm saying? So we can't go back. All this stuff is designed so we can't go back, or the least amount of us can go back. Man, get y'all passport. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's really all I can say in research. I mean, y'all got to do some research. The stuff with the camps, and I was looking at the comment section, and I'm like, wow, you know, it really like coming into the truth, learning about Nubaru X. That's not where we need to be, you know. It's not where we need to be. I came in like week 3. I ain't gonna lie, yeah. Week 3. We were talking about fallen angels and stuff like that. Like week 3, like we need to stop doing that. I get the high knowledge stuff, but we need to come back to the very basic level. I was saying in the comments, I'm like, the first job of man was to watch and keep guard of land. So
yeah.
if we returning back, that means we got to go back for real. We have to go back. I seen somebody saying they were selling land, plots of land over there, 1800 in Uganda or something, or I'm not sure. It's somewhere in the comment, but I'm like, how many times we go spend $1,800 on rims, grills, chains? We are so like removed from, you know what I'm saying, from where we supposed to be. Land is where it's at. They always buying up land. They buy up much land in Mississippi. Since we had Dean Parker on, I've been looking at people going to get their land back, even like white people and people that I know, white people, excuse me, our Caucasian, counterparts, they're going back to get their land. Like they losing people that's losing land, our people that's losing land in these tax sales, and they can't pay $500 property taxes because they so poor. They buying up their land, 20 hundreds of acres of land. So what y'all saying, the land is very important. And the Bible is always talking about, I'm gonna give you back your land, return you back your land, your land, your land, your land, like real land, like dirt and soil. Like, and it's gonna take work. I think we allergic to it. We so allergic. This customer service, that ain't work. That ain't work. We ain't really doing work. We need to get back to really doing work because that's where the wealth come in at. It's a sister that left like years ago. I know this sister from the church I came through years ago. She's a young sister. She's like in her 20s. She left the United States. She went with someone, but then she eventually like got land and started making onions and watermelons and stuff. Like she going from $2,000 investment to 10, selling it back over here. It's funny, but this sister was young and she had the mindset to do that. So I'm just looking like, oh, get y'all passports.
Isn't that what it mean to be saved? Y'all could correct me, Ron or Lorvins. And it doesn't mean to be saved to be safe in your land.
Right.
Isn't that what it means?
Right.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, so we're gonna have like a couple performers, your pie, J Lush, they gotta grace the stage.
Say my name like that.
Yeah, I got one of the prolific artists out there. Working on getting him, Keith Wallace. Oh man, he has an amazing testimony. I just need people to be able to hear. Spoke to Hezekiah. He's all game. So we have a few more artists out there that we're really looking to bring some of the ones that you've not heard before here, maybe even overseas. We're working on it. So trying to make this the best experience possible to when you leave, you are able to leave with actionable words. You see what I'm saying? Because it's one thing to give you things, but to give you knowledge that will teach you, to provoke you to action that can sustain you for a lifetime or eternity. And that's really eternal life. You know what I'm saying? The living water that gives you eternal life, to be able to sustain yourself, not only spiritually, but physically. Because for those that have children, you're going to need to teach them these things too. You see what I'm saying? So they can continue this legacy onward. Because, a lot of us say, the world's going to end in 25 years, but we don't know. Yeah, I've been hearing that since I was born. You see what I'm saying? So it's not to diminish the power of the Most High, not at all. But we live in reality. It could be another 100 years. It could be however the kingdom is manifest to us, because we know it comes without observation. So the idea of it is however it's manifested. You see what I'm saying? And that's to each is his own, and what was revealed to you. But while we're here, we're going to do the work. And we're going to do it to where we start to deal with our people, to the Jews first and then to the others. So we have to show one another love first, deal with each other first, and then see where it goes from there. You see what I'm saying? Ron, you got any last messages in regards to movies you have coming up, and especially the event that we're about to do together?
Yeah, okay. So the Gentiles, they know that information is powerful and it could wake up the masses. So this is the reason why they created the passport visa system for the world, and and because of that, they can also implement the vaccine passport. If there's another pandemic, they can say, well, you're not vaccinated or whatever, therefore you're not allowed to enter this country. But in addition to that, they also track um, data, and they don't want us to be able to um, move data or share data because of word of mouth in regards to social media and email blasts. Now, I just thought about it the other day, well, not too long ago. I realized that these companies, like Amazon, like all the people that buy a product, if somebody from Amazon buys my DVD, or someone from Amazon streams the movie, they don't they're not required to give Amazon their email or their phone number. So if somebody buys a DVD or a shirt or streams a movie from anybody, you cannot, as the seller, you cannot capture the email or phone number of the person that purchased your product, so that if you have another product that you want to sell later on, or a movie or whatever, that you can just go to your database and just send out an email blast to like thousands of people that purchased your first DVD, CD, shirt, whatever it is from Amazon. You can't do that because they don't allow you to have that information, because they know that that information is powerful. If say, Lorvins knows that 500,000 people streamed his first album, and he has all their emails. Then when he comes out with album number two, he can just send a blast email out to all those people that purchased his first album, and he has the emails uh, on a CSV or Excel format, and he can just say, okay, you guys bought the first album. Now I'm releasing the second album. It's out now on Amazon. Amazon controls this. Just like when Kyrie Irving did what he did, GoFundMe shut all my campaigns down for no reason. And I'm like, what? Like, GoFundMe's supposed to be a donation platform for people that died, and they need funding for this, and GoFundMe takes a small percentage of a donation. But even the two white guys that founded GoFundMe, they were like, maybe the Jews must have called them and say, "Hey, shut this guy down. Don't let anybody fund him. Don't let anybody fund him through Kickstarter, Indiegogo, GoFundMe. Shut it down now." And they shut it down. They shut it down like I'm a terrorist, and I'm funding a terrorist organization in Iraq or Lebanon or Palestine. They shut it down. So we had to understand that one of the biggest ways that we can share information that we can control, obviously, it's not TV and radio, like the Breakfast Club and Vlad TV and Drink Champs, because we don't have no control over that. They have their own people on there uh that's doing things like Dr. Umar Johnson, Jay Morrison, Young Pharaoh, Brother Polite, whoever they have on there, just talking whatever. But social media, which they also control, is something that we have somewhat of a control, because we can post whatever we want on social media. At least most of the times we think we can. But the problem is that we as Black people and we as Israelites, we don't use social media to our advantage to strike the dagger in the hearts of the enemy, and really foil all their plans. And like Jay Lutch said earlier, why don't we all come together? Like unification, coming together, putting aside our differences. These are things you would think that we would be able to do, but even with TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, even with all these platforms that we're on all the time. We don't utilize these platforms as Israelites that all believe that we are the chosen people and that we need to get out of Babylon, or at least be less dependent on Babylon. We don't try to rally together to support anybody that's trying to push uh, improvement, advancement, empowerment, education, edification of our people. And that's one of the things that nobody can say that Ron Dalton is not trying to push edification, empowerment, education, unification, and all these things for our people. That's what I've been doing since day one. But the Israelites all over the world, we don't think of it like that. And it's really sad. It's really, really sad because they could take us out one by one on YouTube and social media. They can shout up banners. They can censor us. They can, do all types of things to silence the message. But we really, truly have power to get around all that. We just don't realize how we can use what we have at our disposal to make huge damage in what we're all fighting against. And when we saw the Kyrie Irving incident happen, people were like, "Whoa!" And Lorvins, when he called me, uh, in Florida, Atlanta, Florida, and I had just got out the shower. I was standing, about to brush my teeth. Lawrence called me. He said, "Bro," he's like, "Did you see what just happened?" I said, "No, what happened?" He said, "Kyrie Irving shared a post to your movie link." And I said, "Who's Kyrie Irving?" And I had to think about it. And I remember my brother-in-law used to always talk about Kyrie Irving was the best basketball player that he loved outside of LeBron James. And I said, "Oh, that's that guy that my brother-in-law used to always talk about." And when I Googled it, because Lorvins told me it, and I said, Lorvins is lying. I Googled it. I Googled it, and I seen on the Yahoo headlines, Kyrie Irving tweeted a link to Hebrews to Negroes, and I seen the Rolling Stones. And once I seen the Rolling Stones article, I said, "Oh man, it's about to get lit. It's about to get lit." And it was a roller coaster of like a month that went down until Kyrie Irving apologized completely and did all the checklists, and he got back in the NBA, and then everything went back to normal. So that just shows you the impact that one person had, and that caused the whole YouTube to talk about it. Everybody on YouTube was talking about it. Even black channels that had a lot of followers that weren't even talking about Israelite stuff. They were now talking about, oh, he's being attacked because he's now we're talking about who we really are. We're talking about our true identity, and not the slave narrative that they keep showing us in Hollywood. And black people at that moment seemed like we were all on board. Like civil rights, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, we were all on board throughout all of America. He's just trying to find out who he is and where he comes from, and he's searching for his identity. And let the man search for his identity. All black people said, "Let the man go ahead and just do that. Why are you attacking him?" So black people at that moment seemed like we were kind of unified on one thing, even those in the Christian church, because they seen a common enemy on the people that were going against him, saying, "Hey, shut up, delete the tweet. How dare you promote an anti-Semitic film?" So despite any celebrities doing anything like that ever again, we still have thousands of Israelites on YouTube that have the ability to come together and do something that's going to help empower the people. And we should let the people, like you guys all know, decide on whether they agree with this plan, that this thing that this person is saying we should do, or we looking at this guy like, oh well, he's saying some good stuff, but nah, I don't think I really believe in what he's saying. Let's just do what we want to do. At least the people deserve an option of what somebody's saying, that hey, I think that we all need to do this. Until we can come together and put all our our things that we think we should do, set it on the table. Like Lauren was like, I keep saying all the time, we really should get a conference or something where we have all the Israel leaders come and we all sit at the table, like a round table, and everybody that's the head of an organization gets a mic. IUIC, GOCC, ISUPK, GMS, Sakari, uh, Straightway Ministries, whoever, give them a mic and let's all put it all on the table. Let's talk about some stuff and let the audience listen to the dialogue that we're having, and we're gonna hear a lot of sides of stories on what people think we should be doing in these last days and times. But I'm gonna tell you, people are going to see a lot of stuff, and it's going to open up a lot of eyes because people right now, in America, are going through a lot. I know a lot of Israelites that are homeless, a lot of Israelites that are being evicted right now as we speak, a lot of Israelites that are losing their cars, a lot of Israelites that are getting hammered with child support. They're facing all types of fines and probation fees and things of that nature. They're about to lose their job. Their job might be going out of business. They might not be making a lot of money. They're struggling. There's a lot of things happening in America right now for the Israelites, and Israelites, are not being told anything other than Esau's the white man and UFOs are coming to save us. And don't worry. And all of a sudden, Babylon's about to fall and all this crazy stuff. But then we're still in Babylon. We're still in Babylon, and you're still teaching us Esau's the white man and all this crazy stuff. But yet, my situation is getting worse and worse by the day. So Lorvins, this conference, unfortunately, like I said, it seems like we're doing conferences. Where's everybody else doing conferences? Where's everybody else doing conferences at? Like nobody does conferences no more. Like Lorvins, like literally Lorvins, like the Great Awakening Mega Conference, and the things that we did in Florida and North Carolina and different places. Like you gotta wonder, like why don't we do conferences as Israelites? Why don't we do conferences? Why is it just like we just all do YouTube? So this conference is something that people need to come out to. You can stay in a hotel for 2 or 3 days, and get edified. Like Laura said, you're gonna have people there that's gonna be musical artists that you may never heard of, and you're gonna be in the presence of other Israelites that have the same questions and desires and beliefs as you. So this is a time to get out before any type of pandemic hits again, and then we can't, come together. We can't, be in the same building and 6 feet social distancing. These are opportunities right now that we can take advantage of because we don't know there's going to be another pandemic that's going to keep us from gathering like the last pandemic. Yeah. So, this is 2023. They're planning the so-called. I think I heard someone in the video that they said that there's another pandemic coming, and it's set to release in 2024, 2025. So if they're true on saying what they know is going to happen, then we have a short limited time where we can actually come together and gather to hear people speak at a conference and share ideas and ask questions and kind of see what can we do now to plan and prepare for what's coming to America and the world.
Yeah, and the conference too, when you come with an open ear, come with a sense of I'm going to operate in that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're going to really use the information because whatever you hear, something may peak in your ear. There may be a fire that sparks in you and allow it to permeate you to the way you move into action. You'll be surprised what happens in your life when you start to be obedient to what is being said. So it's going to be in Tampa, Florida. You can't look, it's going to be Florida, y'all. You got Clearwater Beach. It's like literally going to be 15, 20 minutes away. St. Pete Beach is going to be 15 minutes away. You got Orlando is about an hour away from that location, or hour and 15. You got Disney World. You got Busch Gardens. You got Adventure Island. So that's going to be sort of kind of winter time. But with us, that's still summer for us. You know what I mean? So you can come here and really have a good time. Make it a family affair. Make it a time where you come fellowship with Israelite with an open mind, being able to hear different opinions, and and not be criticized for who you are because of what you believe in the Israelite faith. As long as you Hamashiach and you keep in Torah, we welcome you. You see what I'm saying? And if our job is to be a light, you are a light. There are greater lights. There are some people that may know more, and you may need to garner from that experience. And so you take that and then you hone your own experience. You see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, right here in Tampa, Florida, Tampa hasn't had an amazing thing. And look, I've been in this shoe for a minute. So praise y'all, man. Finally doing something that is going to be huge for this area. And we hope that everyone in Florida, whether it be in Gainesville, there you go. Whether you be in Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, all over the United States. We having people coming from Africa, from different countries that's going to be coming to this thing. So we're going to make it a big deal. And then, by the way, if there are people who want to sponsor the event, and someone was telling me to ask that, you have the ability as an organization if you want to sponsor the event as well. We'll give you your shout outs, things and that. There'll be a certain amount of tickets involved and stuff like that. You have the ability to sponsor, partner up with us. You see what I'm saying? To make this event successful, especially leaders out there. There are people that want to know how to build, how to garden. You got Pastor Dow, somebody that knows how to build, that knows how to garden. You can garner experience from people like that. Preferably, they'll attend. You know what I'm saying? Then you have people like the 7-Day Harvest in Atlanta. They're experts in gardening. They're expert in survival. They're expert in family affairs and things of that nature. You got people like that you can garner experience from. And these are people who put their hands to the plow. You see what I'm saying? In every group in Israel, I always look at the positive. I'm not oblivious to the things I don't agree with or oblivious to the thing, but those are minuscule compared to the greater picture. You see what I'm saying? Most High name must go out. And he's going to use whatever. And if the Most High can use Pharaoh, if he can use Abimelech, if he can use whoever, then by golly, I can use whoever too. Because I come in his power. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to allow people to permeate my mind and get me out of the spirit from what the Most High has given me in my mission to allow someone he sent to me. A lot of times the Most High send people to you to help you. And because you can't look past their nose, you end up failing the mission. You see what I'm saying? Because you can't get yourself out of it. You can't get your feelings off of it. You might have somebody that got multiple wives. You want to deal with them, but they got all the skills and the Most High sent you to them. He send them to you. And you're like, oh my God. You see what I'm saying? But he sent them to you to help you. And then you barked at it, and now here you go. You failing all over the place because of your personal feelings. You see what I'm saying? He may send someone to you that believe Hamashiach in a certain light. You see what I'm saying? But you want to judge all the time and cast stones because you can't even see when help is coming your way because you're so blind. You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, if you have a purpose, you have a mission, allow the Most High to work in you and let the mission happen. Now, if you're weak in faith and you can't deal with people, by all means, stay away. Because we don't want you having to be people to be a stumbling block in your life because you cannot control your flesh. You cannot control yourself because you can't help but judge. You know what I'm saying? There are people, they can't help it. They don't feel good unless they don't judge somebody. They don't feel good unless they talk bad about somebody. So, okay, you stay away because that's your stumbling block. You see what I'm saying? But for those who are looking to fellowship, who are looking for the camaraderie, for those that are looking to incline their ear to something new in terms of what they may have not been taught or heard, and this new fellowship, maybe have some information about passports, Africa, and some of the things that are going on, some of the things we can't even say on here. You see what I'm saying? Come forward and then hear what has to be said. So yeah, it's going to be November 17 to 18. Ron will be in the building along with some very esteemed and established speakers and some established musicians and performers. And hopefully we'll have a great mission to do some outreach with a few community people that I have in mind, but help make this a success. Like Ron said, the best kind of promotion is word of mouth. All we got. they've been banning us. They don't want us to use their billboard. So help us spread the word. We know it works, because look what Kyrie did. So if Kyrie can do it, you can do it. And you share the word. Whenever we put out a trailer or something like that, Ron put out something, put it out. Help us out. You just never know. It's a seed that you planted. You don't know who's going to see it. And hopefully it'll grow. It'll grow like a wave, and become a tsunami in this world, spiritual tsunami. Not only that, but a physical one too. You just never know. That may help us free us. But other than that, man, that's really it. Ron, if you have any last word besides what you just said, man, this is the time for it. And your pod, Jay Lutch, any last word? And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so the buttons to buy tickets will be up on the negronetwork.com soon. Those that been following me for years, they know that when I do stuff like Zooms or movie premieres in Detroit, I usually put stuff on the negronetwork.com, either the link, the hyperlink to buy the tickets, or just a button in general that you can click on to buy tickets for the conference. And you can start researching Airbnbs and hotels in the area that you might want to stay at for the conference. I know we got plenty of time before November, but we got limit. I don't know how many seats the place fills. Maybe it's 1,000, but
Yeah.
1,000. So you don't want to say, oh well, nothing. The ticket button's not working anymore. Oh, that's because we're sold out. And if we're sold out, we can't have 1,500 people in there, and we got 1,000 seats. So we don't want to be under a fire code violation. So you definitely want to, when the buttons are on the negronetwork.com, which we'll probably do another show, and I'll post it on Instagram and Twitter and let Lorvins know. Then people can go there and they can get their tickets, just like they did when they went to the mega conference, or if they went to the Hebrews to Negroes movie screening, that the first one I did in Detroit. They went to the Negro Network to get the tickets. So, but we gave you the dates, the location. The buttons are going to be on there soon. I'm just going to create those within the next day or two, and then people can start to tell other Israelites that there is a conference in America that is going on. And it's sad that we don't see these things happen more often from other Israelite assemblies. But when I do things, I don't just do it just for certain groups of individuals. Like, if I have, I don't have an assembly, but certain assemblies or camps, they only do things for their own people, and they don't allow the general public to just stroll on in, because you gotta be checked, you gotta have your IDs scanned, you gotta write your name in a book, you gotta be verified and all sorts of stuff to actually attend somebody's congregation or assembly. Like you're going into a government building, like the FBI building or the CIA building. But no, when I do conferences, we allow everybody from all over to come if they want to come. Canada, Jamaica, Africa, America. If you can get there, you can get there and sit your butt down and enjoy the conference and enjoy the fellowship and the music and everything that's going to be going on. And that's what I've been doing for years now. So yeah. So I'm excited because it's not often that I get to do this since I've been in Africa doing things. So while I'm in America, I'm gonna try to take advantage of.
Wait, hold up. Wait,
Yeah, I could cry. I'm gonna cry. I promise you, I can cry.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Yo, somebody
see that? That's wild.
No way. No way.
Yo, somebody else pointed it out. Somebody else pointed it out. Somebody else pointed it out. Ron, this is so crazy. Hold on. Somebody else who is it? Oh my God, I can't scroll up. Bro. Look, I can't scroll up. Like, what's wrong with my thing?
I don't know. It's,
somebody else said it.
The brother who first called it was let's see.
Ron, you see what they posted?
Yo, I can cry. I
wanted to cry.
No, someone posted it's exactly 144 days.
Where's that? Where's that?
There's no way.
Where's that?
I'm not kidding. I could cry.
Okay, so it was Benjamin Dahl Wolf.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's wow.
Wow.
And I was like, do y'all remember the Kyrie show we did? What is like the day of?
We posted it at 144.
At 144, like Pete. We all was like, whoa.
And the next day we called on everybody to share it at 144, and then the story came out.
It was nuts. Wow.
Bro, you know what I say? Bro, like, if you ever needed a sign, bro.
God, give me a sign. What do you think?
Bro, what? Nah, I'm gonna have to count that myself, man.
You can just Google it. You ain't gotta count it. You just Google it.
You just Google it. You Google it.
It's just like days until November 17th.
144?
And 144 is just gonna pop up.
That's crazy.
Benjamin, you a wild man for that breast split. I almost cried.
What do you say about that? That's crazy.
Oh, the Most High's moving. He's moving.
Wow. Yeah. Bruh. On that note, on that note, that's crazy, bro. I think we need a moment of silence for that. That's
I could cry. Like, I'm not even playing.
That's all esteem to Abba right there, man.
Man, praise the Most High, bro. Like, and see, people say we ain't spiritual, right? You see what I'm saying? That's crazy. See, we believe in these things, man. We believe in the signs, the Most High, how he speaks to us. You see what I'm saying? This is how he talks. This is exactly how he talks. This is how he talks to his people. For those that and they'll know when it's him. Yeah. You can't tell me it ain't Abba, bro. You can't tell me. So
I'm sure
those who are heads, they will understand. And I understand this moment. That's how divine this is. And I'm going to share this. And I think I might have shared this with you guys before. The situation with me and Ron, there was an Ema. And this is a testimony. I won't say her name. It was back in 2019, something like that. She said, out of all the people that you and Ron are dealing with, and these are people, we still love, that were close to us, that was right, they decided to do other things, which is all good, because, you need that, because maybe they were chosen to do something else. And she said, out of all of these people, I never always believe in prophecies and people pronouncing word on me, because, like I was always skeptical. She said, out of all the people you and Ron are dealing with, y'all two gonna be the last two standing together hand in hand, meaning hand in hand doing the work. The last two. And I can really say till this day, 2 years ago that happened. That manifested to where now it's just me and Ron out of the whole crew that stands today. And I was always like, man, whatever. People always got a word for you, this, and that. And it came to pass. And then ever since then, when I was rejected and, this, that, or whatever, this and that, and separate all kind of different stuff, the Most High took it on a whole nother level. Started showing me things that I never really believe in, as far as like things that are coincidence, and you can no longer call it a coincidence anymore. And I only could see that the Most High was operating in your pa being by my side, J Luck being by my side, my wife. They seen like how things was just happening, and then you saw some of the things that was happening in J Luck's life. And how that began to change. And now he's starting to see things matriculating in his life. And he kept going up and up. And now all of a sudden, your pa's just been going through this transition. And things just started happening. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, whoa, like what's going on? And then even with the Ron situation with that 144 and this and that, Look, we're not saying this is all be all, but something is happening. The Most High is speaking. He's trying to get our attention. And perhaps maybe, and someone was saying they was there. Someone said, I was there when that happened. And so we ain't lying. And now you seen the same thing happen. The very same number appear. Come on, man, y'all. This ain't no running a mill type stuff, man. This is powerful stuff that's happening. This is stuff that's being confirmed by the Most High. This is the way he speaks to his people. He said, I'm gonna show you. Nah, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, sorry I had to get on that, but sometimes we need to start understanding the gravity of a situation, the importance of a moment when the Most High spoke. Because when you read the scripture, he said he is not talking to us face by face anymore. That's not how he's doing it. It's going to be through the Ruach that Yahusha sent back, the comforter. That's going to guide us in all truth and understanding. And those that have ears to ears, they're going to hear it. And those that got eyes to see, they're going to be able to see it. But guess what? We still got adversaries. The adversaries are going to talk against this. That's how we going to know the difference. You see what I'm saying? Those are some that's going to come with good report, but those are some that's going to deliver a bad report too. So you watch those that's delivering bad report, and then watch those that's delivering good report. And so this is where we stand. So praise Yah, man, through his son Yahusha, and showing us that important moment in this time that we're living in to confirm our work, not just talk about the work, to confirm it.
Yeah, so, I was about to say that it's ironic that the sign comes in the middle of the work. Something like tell you like keep going, you're going in the right direction.
Right.
You know, I just think it's awesome it's happening like that. Like it always happens when you're in the middle of the plow, you know. And no, you're doing good. Keep going.
And they used to use that pillar. You see on that little pillar to show you where they was.
Yep.
Keep going. That's the route. Man, all praise to the Most High, man.
Yes, sir.
Ron, I know you're probably in tears back there. Man, this is amazing, man.
I got something just in case they missed it the first time. I found it. I still had it in my
Girl,
Hey, I still had it. You know, it was a lot going on that night. It was a lot going on.
Man, Black Man 007, man, he owned it, bro. I gotta find out who that brother is, bro, because he there's another spirit on that brother, amazing spirit. He posting the right stuff. Yeah, there it is. We ain't lying. October 27, 2022, 1:44 p.m. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
Man, oh man. Let me tell you, being with these people here, anytime I'm around these folk, something's always happening, man. I've seen it happen time and time and time and time again. Most are always showing out with these people, man. And when you see that kind of stuff happening, you learn to shut up. You learn to shut up and let the Most High do his work. And you just learn how to move along and do your part.
Yeah.
You ain't got to say much, man. You just move forward and do the work. That's it.
Man, Hey, look, sis, go ahead and play that song. Thank you, man. Just for this moment. Just because this is one of those moments where when the Most High speak, you allow him to just do what it is that he want to do, man. You know what I'm saying? And yeah.
And Lorvins, you were when I flew into Fort Lauderdale, you were crucial in a lot of the stuff that went that went down in Florida during that time, because going back and forth to the whatever that place was. I got my dental work done, and then helping with the with all the luggage and the van, getting to the airport. And then, like, man, Laura was a lifesaver, man. Laura was a lifesaver in Florida. Fort Lauderdale, a lot of things that went down, and Lorvins was around in the vicinity of Tampa, Orlando. Even when my wife was going through some issues, I had to go to the hospital, and different things was going on. Yeah, Lawrence was there. He was there. Helping out, because he's there. And nobody else was around. So yeah, Lawrence, you were the one that told me that Kyrie had did that, and on that day, and prior to that, Lawrence knows what I was going through prior to that even going down, and what I was going through in Davenport, Florida, at the Airbnb, with the rental car, and the cost of Airbnbs, and the cost for enterprise rental, the cost for the food at Publix right down the street, and within walking distance, and and things of that nature, because it was a lot going on at that time. Lawrence knows about it because we were in the car talking about a lot of these things. So it just so happened that you know, prior to the Kyrie Irving incidents, all the stuff we were talking about in the car, and then the Kyrie incident happens, and then bam, now all this stuff is happening, and Lawrence is still there. I mean, he's talking to people on the phone, and helping to put together press statements and things of that nature. So Lawrence has been there since the beginning, back when we first met in Florida, and he's still around. He's still here. Like, out of all the Israelites, like Lord, like you said, like the lady told you, out of all the Israelites that we used to be around, doing stuff with, and people know the other Israelites that used to be around when we were around. They're all doing their own thing. They don't disappeared, and here you're looking at today, and still me and Lawrence, and all the other Israelites that were with me and Lawrence back in the day, whether in Florida, North Carolina, or wherever, Detroit, where they at? Where they at? All you see is me and Lawrence right now.
The scriptures say, like, your friends through adversity. Like, when things get rough, you don't bail on them. You know what I'm saying? Ron hadn't had it easy. Trust me. He hadn't had it easy. And yet, Ron's a little different. I always tell him, I said, bro, you're not the nicest person in the way that you speak and stuff, because he's very direct. So when you look at it, in the prophets, you had to kind of imagine them back then. They had a mission. And their mission was to deliver the word, and whatever it is that the Most High gave them to deliver it. But we so caught up in what this Western world has taught us about this emotional feelings that we can't see truth when it hits you in the head. You worry about someone in the way, okay, I get that. But get to know the people you deal with, though. Get to know the people you lay. You're going to find out they're much better of a person than you think. These are human beings that has family, that goes through life, that has history that you don't know about, because the Most High knew them from the beginning. You don't. You just knowing them in this walk. There are people that way back, like Jay Lutz, he's been married since he was 16 years old. 16 years old. And the wife he had, they was together for a long time. So you got to imagine, when somebody's 16, married, they're going through a lot. That means they're going through things that you probably cannot imagine. So when it comes time to judge a person like that, it's going to require a different level of understanding, patience, and passion, and love. Someone like that needs to be loved in a different way, because that's a different seed. You can't treat that seed like every other seed. It requires more of a sacrifice. It requires you literally laying down your life for somebody like that in order for them to survive. Because somebody like that could have been completely dead. But in order for them to revive, you have to give your life so they can live. That's how that stuff works. Somebody different than him may require a different level of love, maybe not that much. You see what I'm saying? So Ron was the same way. Ron required literally someone serving him, someone literally sacrificing time. So when you see people around me, best believe I'm the best servant you'll ever find. I'm the best person you'll ever see that can serve somebody, and I'm willing to do, and I do it with joy. So yeah, when he came from Africa, man was low. He was down here to the floor. While he's down there to the floor, people calling him names and stomping on him and stomping on his name. They don't even know him. Don't even know the guy. You ain't never really had a real conversation with him. You don't even know the brother. And a lot of people who you see talk down on certain people, you find out they really don't know the person. So someone that low, you have to learn how to pick them up. Yeah, Ron is this big shot guy now. He is. He's a man of renown in this world now. You can't deny it, whether you like it or not. The Most High has esteemed him and lifted him up. You can't deny that either. You just can't deny it. That's called truth. Some of us not going to like that truth. Maybe he didn't lift you up. That's okay. Do what Ron did. Sacrifice. This man got 8 kids, 1 on the way, and a wife. You don't think this man sacrificing? This man is literally a doctor, a physician assistant. Some people frowned on that. That's not good enough. Some people frown on that. The man went to years and years of school. They frown on that with an emphasis on genealogy. Why do you think he talk about DNA the way he does? Most High prepared him, man. Don't play with the Most High's people. Y'all better stop doing that, because you'll knock yourself out the way, because the Most High don't like that. Don't go against his servants. You see what I'm saying? So it was nothing for me to drive 3.5 hours to go pick him up because he had dental work to do. It's nothing. I did it with joy. I did it with a smile on my face. My wife was here. She seen it. Yeah, when his wife was going in, yeah, I drive 1.5 hours. I went to pick up the prescription for her. I know most people won't do that. That's okay. But I did it because I knew the brother needed the extra hand. It's like Moses. Put your hands up. But you got that brother that's going to keep that other hand up so the work can get done. That's what we do. That's what we do over here. On this side of the world, on this side of identity, and this side of the spirit of the Most High, this is what we do. We give love to one another. We esteem one another, but we also correct one another. That's what we do. And then we keep our head down and we keep doing the work. We ain't going to stop doing this work until the Most High has called us. Trust me, we done had the conversation. We're not scared of the enemy and how they're coming. We're not afraid of that either. Fear the one that can kill the spirit and not the body. So we fear the one that kills the spirit. If we have to be a martyr out here for the Most High, let it be so. His will be done, not ours. It is what it is, people. And the gravity of this work is very serious. This is serious business. You have to get out the way, man. You literally have to be used as a vessel where the Most High move you like the wind. You don't know where it's going and you don't know where it's coming. But man, so I hate to get on that, man, but I believe sometimes the Most High send people to fight the fight of another. You see what I'm saying? So you can help his name be magnified. And this is not of us at all. This is all the Most High. You see it. This is all the Most High. He gets the glory. We magnify his name. You see what I'm saying? So, and we thank him, man. Look, thank you. Thank you, Most High. Thank you, Yahusha. Thank you. Thank you for just allowing us to operate. Thank you for just opening our mouths to speak. Thank you for pouring your ruach on us. Thank you for allowing us to speak your word and not ours. Just thank you. You know what I'm saying? Who am I that you should be mindful of me? What? Us?
Man, and I love it, man. Everybody playing their part. Man, this is what you gotta love about these people up here right now. Everybody playing their part. You think Q not saying much, but this whole thing is happening? It's because Q make it happen, man. Q doing her thing, man. Y'all don't see. She ain't just on that stage. She working in the background, fam. She aids Lorvins in different things. She aids me in different things. Shouts out to Q, man. Ron doing his thing. Lorvins doing his thing. Man, I love it when everybody just learn how to play their roles, fit in your spot, and stay in your lane. Bro, you will find out just how well oiled the machine is. I promise you, man. It's a beautiful thing to see.
But you let love operate and see what the Most High do. See what He do. It's perfect, man. Play the one song, and I'm only playing this song because I want to just let the Most High have this glory. You know what I'm saying? So we can just decrease, and He has the time. And those who are at home, you listening, just think about some of the things He did for you. Just think about where He took you from. You see what I'm saying? And you probably should have been dead. So I'll decrease now.
Have mercy upon me, O Yah, for I am weak. O Yah, heal me. Psalm 6, verse 2.
Thanks, thank you. Thanks, thank you. I give thanks, thank you. I give thanks, thank you. Have mercy upon me, oh yeah, for I am weak, oh yeah. Heal me, have mercy upon me, oh yeah, I am weak, oh yeah. Heal me, I give thanks, thank you. I give thanks, thank you. All I can say is thanks, thank you. All I can say is thanks, thank you. Have mercy upon me, oh yeah, I am weak, oh yeah. Heal me, have mercy upon me, oh yeah, for I am weak, oh yeah. Heal me, thanks, thank you. All I can say is thank you, thank you. All I can say is thanks, thank you. All I can say is thank you, thank you. Have mercy upon me, oh yeah, for I am weak, oh yeah. Heal me, have mercy upon me, oh yeah, for I am weak, oh yeah. Heal me, have mercy. mercy upon, oh yeah, for I am weak, your have mercy upon, oh yeah, for I am weak, oh yeah, heal me, heal me, heal me, have mercy upon, oh yeah, for I am weak, oh, heal me, have mercy upon, for yeah, I am weak, yeah, heal me, heal me, heal me, have mercy upon, for yeah, for I am weak, yeah, heal me, heal me, heal me, have mercy upon me. Oh yeah, for I am weak. Oh yeah, heal me, heal me, heal me.
Man, thank you so much, Israel, for y'all listening. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for supporting us in prayers. And thank you for accepting us, you know, those that, you know, show love and stuff like that. So we really, really appreciate it. Trust me, it don't go unnoticed. Um, so for those that understand the power of prayer, we ask you to stand in the gap for us. You see what I'm saying? For your pa and for Jay Lutch and for, especially for Ron Dalton and me, and especially for all of those that labor to bring and magnify the name of the Most High throughout this entire world, because He looks to dwell with us, and this is the key. He is looking to dwell with us, but there is a land that He's promised us. There's a land that He promised Abraham and his seed, and all we're trying to do is go home. That's it. We're trying to go home, and we're trying to worship the Most High the way that He's ordained for us to do so. And what we are doing is trying to seek truth by way of the Ruach, because that is the only thing that's going to teach us in the way that we should. And so we ask that all of you who knows how to pray, that understand the power of prayer, just not any prayer, just don't send anything up, but those that understand it, pray for us so that we can be protected in the way that the Most High wants us to be protected. And I believe that there's a greater calling on all of us, some greater than the other. You know what I'm saying? But we still all got a part to play. Don't let this day go by and feeling this magnificent spiritual and divine moment. Tomorrow, carry that light with you. Don't let it burn out. You see what I'm saying? That's the whole point of the lamp. Keep the oil in it. So when you go forward, keep the light lit. Tomorrow is going to come a different adversity. Now He's going to tempt you tomorrow. You see what I'm saying? Because this, what you're feeling right now, is powerful. And the enemy don't want you to carry that every day. So the idea is to keep your lamp lit and carry the same energy so the Most High can keep lifting you up higher and higher, Israel. This is not about me. This is not about Ron. This is not none of us. This is about Him. You see what I'm saying? So carry that with you and do something with it. And so whatever Ron has going on, support it. You know what I'm saying? The Ruach will lead you. Whatever it is that, if the Most High put it in you, not just spreading the word, that's great. But spiritually, financially, you see what I'm saying? Do all of these things if the Most High move you in that way. So That's all I have to say. I'm literally done now. So Ron, if you're still there, just you close us out, and then we're just gonna get off. And then J Lush, you say your thing, and then let the Most High just really be glorified now.
No, I just I mean, you said everything, and just pray for me, and support. And it's almost the sun's about to come up soon over here, and I gotta go to bed. So otherwise I'm gonna be go to sleep when the sun's out in Africa. Yep.
All praises. You probably got one last thing to say.
I just praise the Most High for these moments. I mean, he been blowing my mind. My whole June been lit. I ain't gonna even front. He just been blowing my mind, and really, y'all pray for these brothers. Pray for these brothers. Pray for me. We are living in a time. It's definitely a time, and I know everybody can see it. Everybody can feel it. It's like it's no secret. It's no secret anymore. Y'all don't forget to share this stuff to your family members and stuff like that. You never know what's going to catch them, Don't keep it to yourself, you know what I'm saying? We don't get any knowledge to keep to ourselves or, to hold on to like it's ours. And y'all be blessed, y'all stay up, joy in the morning, you know what I'm saying? And, just be loving to one another. And a lot of compliment about the way you treat each other. With my kids, I wish the sun's down. They shalom.
All right, Jay, last word.
I read what Mac Man put in the chat. He put the definition of heal in the chat. Cure, cause to heal, physician, repair thoroughly, make whole. Man, listen. If I could just say anything, we have the power to heal one another, man.
Facts.
We really do. We could walk in love, man, for real. If you truly learn how to walk in love, you can heal yourself. You can help to heal your brothers and sisters, man. Man, it's a powerful thing when you really learn what that is. Man, I appreciate each brother up here. I appreciate Q. I appreciate y'all. I'm a better man. I'm a better man, for being among you all. I'm honored to serve you all. Man, praise the Most High, man, because he's put me in a position that I can be me and I can love y'all the way that I truly know how to love. And I'm so appreciative, man, for that alone. And I could just be a humble servant. With that said, love the Most High with all your heart, soul, and mind. And love thy neighbor as thyself. Hallelujah.
Praise the Most High.
I need to end it. I'm so sorry.